Good evening, everybody. Dadman walking 55. Almost forgot my number tonight. So, hey, look, I hope y'all got to see a lot of that countdown. That is a new special intro for any sports and football that the wonderful Mrs. Dadman walking 55 made for me and just completed earlier tonight in a rushed, well, not in a rush manner, but she busted her buns to get it done for this tonight's show. So, thank y'all for being here, and I appreciate y'all. Coming to support us. We had 7 people waiting, and that's always a wonderful thing to see when, especially for football and talk, because it's always not necessarily the things like that. So we do have, one person that will be a little bit late tonight, but let's go ahead and bring in 2 of the gang here already with us. People that don't need any introduction. I'm just glad I don't have any Green Bay Green Bay cheeseheads here to harass me tonight. It's the great Whoopa Troopa and JT Kirk. Hell, guys.
Hello.
Hell. Good evening, everyone.
So did you get, could not see, did y'all get to see, did the intro come through okay?
Yeah, I saw it. It's cool. I noticed it was a new intro.
Yes.
The football sailing over.
Yes.
Well timed.
If you to celebrate one of our games, you could have made it to where the football sails wide right.
Sorry. And not a Florida State Seminole either. Well,
the Bills.
What do a Florida State and Buffalo Bills have in common? They sell wide right. Anyway, okay, that's a bad joke. I know. It's the best I can come up on the spur of the moment. Hey. But hey, folks, we are both on Twitter. Yeah, we are on Twitter also. But we are on Twitch tonight and on YouTube. So make sure you follow us on Twitch. If you have a Twitch channel, please follow us over there. Also, on this YouTube side, please hit that like and subscribe if you haven't. And make sure you're still subscribed because sometimes weird things happen, as we've been told before. So, guys, how are you guys doing tonight? So far, y'all busy weeks or just?
Oh, I can't believe it's already Wednesday evening, and long day. So this is the first chance I had to relax. So glad we get to do it, talking some football and playoff football and Lions football.
I know that was really, really. Yes, we're going to have to talk about that quite a bit tonight because, listen, Detroit fans, this is the time for you to just brag about your team, talk. We could stay 4 hours, however long you Detroit fans want to stay, because you know what, y'all, who knows if this bridge will ever pass again. So enjoy the moment, enjoy the night,
Exactly.
Enjoy talking NFL football in January.
We haven't done this. I can't even put a number on how many years. I don't have that many fingers.
I think I heard 91 was the last time that Detroit was in the conference championship.
Yes.
So
they have been.
Oh my God, that'd be 33 years ago.
Before that, but usually the Cowboys robs them blind with the help of the Zebras. So.
Well, the Dallas Cowboys kryptonite, cheese. Anyway, sorry.
I was going to say
you want to, and folks, listen, tweet this out, share with others, because you know what? You want a Dadman freaking rant? Dadman's going to freaking ass rant tonight about some of that crap. I might get thrown off YouTube, but you know what? I don't care, because how much can one friggin' franchise stand? Sorry.
Do you have a button sitting there next to you?
No,
if you do, please don't push it.
No red buttons. Well, let's say hi to the chat, shall we? Shall we say the hi to the chat? The great Corey Cochran is here. First of all, am I late? LOL, hope no. All had a good day. So it's just wonderful to see you tonight, Corey, and the rest of you guys. Thanks for coming in. Lemon Pie. Hey, Lemon Pie is a guy that's so cool. You know what happened the other day in the Mrs. Show?
She built a bear?
No.
Okay. She won the lottery?
Nope.
She ate mac and cheese?
Nope.
Okay, I'm
even better.
Straight out of guesses.
She had a poll. She always does the polls. And it was like, what's your favorite cream pie? What's your favorite pie? There was lemon meringue and there was chocolate cream, and lemon meringue won. So we joked about lemon pie. Well, lemon pie, you win the poll on the Mrs. Channel. Yeah. So hey,
he's number one.
Yeah, lemon meringue pie beat out chocolate cream pie, if you can believe.
I believe it. Chocolate's not always the answer to everything.
Well, to me it is. So,
we'll have to talk about that on a squirrel stream sometime.
Exactly.
About my philosophy with dessert, but yeah.
Exactly. So we've got 11 people here on the YouTube side. Thank you. One on the Twitch side. All right. So let's go ahead. We keep going through. Lemon Pie said, hello to everybody. OT. Also CLS Studio. Don't know how long you can stay, but you're here. Welcome. Always great to see you. The great JT Kirk is here. Let's see. Hey, Agent Atwood is here. Oi. Oh, no, sorry. That's Stunning that gets oi. I think I saw him down further in the chat. Yes, butts. Exactly. See more butts. There you go. Good to see you. Stunning. Mrs. is here. Hello, Mrs. Thank you for your hard work. Was on the way to watch, but got sidetracked by shorts. Well, that's what I get for wearing shorts around the house. I know I'm Sue. Okay, I'll stop.
She had a good morning show too. I only got to listen to some of it.
Yeah.
I was lurking while trying to get a bunch of stuff at work done, but in between meetings, I was able to listen. And we were doing birthdays, I think, at that point when I got in there. So
yeah,
it's a good time.
No, absolutely. If y'all have not had a chance to check the Mrs. out, check her channel out. Mrs., if you can, go ahead and put your link to your channel in the. She's only 4 away from 150 subscribers, so go check her out. Nice. Watch them later. Even if you work in the morning, go back, watch them later if you can't lurk. She also does build streams. This last Sunday, she did a build stream with Stunning, and they built. That's when she built the first of the peeing bears. You really should see that first peeing bear. It's really something else. But hey, DJ Play Nice, how are you? You rock. Good to see you. Good to see DJ Play Nice. So hey, let's see. Yeah, lemon meringue and blueberry are the best. Oh wow. So okay, cool. Oh no, lemon pie. Oh well, I gotcha. I mean, everything's a different thing. A lot of people like key lime, but it wasn't a choice. But hey,
key lime is delicious.
I put polls and cream pies together. You've got to come around for one of our Fortnite streams. The poll talk is nonstop, my friend. Good, you need to go to that. By the way, the Mrs. and I just played some Fortnite a little while ago, so yeah. Oh, Mrs. Dadman is better than YouTube Shorts. Yes, she is. And
you keep saying polls.
Yep.
And yeah.
Yes.
DJ. Yeah. Never mind.
Lemon pie. Yes, you win. And Mrs. I guess got another one. 147. Only need 3 more. Thank you. All right. So. All right, guys. Well, we got 13 people here with us. The great Clobbering Times, I heard from him, will join us when he can for a little bit, at least tonight. And we always love to have it when he is around. But guys, all right, let's look at the first. We're actually covering 2 weeks, and I'll cover our picks later in the show. But it's really an interesting situation after 2 weeks. The first week of NFL playoff action, and I'm just going to talk about, well, hey, right. Hey, your ears are burning. Hey, Clobby, how are you?
Sorry. Hey, man, I'm so sorry to be late, man. We just kind of run over a little bit.
Hey, that's fine. Hey, you're here. That's what counts, and it's a party now. So,
hey.
Well, we were just about to talk about the first week games and the results of the first week games, and then we can talk about them, and then we can talk in general, and we can talk about the second weeks a little bit more.
I'll have to bug out about like 5 or 10 or so.
That's fine. That's fine. So, I understand.
Light windows, man. But go ahead.
Hey, you're here. That's what I said.
Buddy.
I appreciate any time. All right. In the first week of the, which is last week, we started with the Texans beat the Browns 45-14 at home, and pretty much a big rout of the AFC South champion wins that game. Then the Chiefs win 26-7 over the Dolphins in a very cold game because, if you were anywhere around America, it was freezing, and you're lucky if you don't have snow at that time. And hey, and welcome to Mendover. Hey, welcome here. Good to see you too. Another new face there. So hey, guys. So let's take a look at the AFC in the first one. And Bucky's crafting his hair. Hey, Bucky's good to see you. And tonight, and I will not speak French. Okay, I will not speak French because I know the kid kids probably are going to bed. But in the first week of action in the AFC, we'll talk about how we picked earlier. We have one game which is a blowout with the Texans, and then the Chiefs win kind of comfortably of a game that could have been affected by weather. What thoughts, Clobby, did you have in the AFC matchups in the first week?
Well, in the first week. Oh, we're going back to the first week.
Yeah, we got to cover 2 weeks, so I thought we'd try. Yeah. That
debacle that the NFL set up on a stream only on Peacock, that was just ridiculous, man. It did that, but that's beside the point. Well, look, I didn't give unfortunately the the Dolphins much of a chance in that one. And that one, at Kansas City, because it's just, they're not a cold weather team. You hear all that cliche all the time, but it matters. This was a below freezing game or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
It was an ice field, so
that one was so cold that Patrick Mahomes' helmet broke.
Yeah, it was. It was crazy. So yeah, I didn't think that was going to be much of a competitive game. It was not. I didn't get to see it, of course, because it was only on Peacock, and I was actually on the air at the time anyway. So didn't get to see much of that one. Don't have a lot of an opinion on what transpired through the game other than the later highlights, other than it went the way I think most of us expected at that point, right? So,
yeah.
And let's see, 2 weeks ago, what were the other ones here? I don't know what I did 2 minutes ago. So let's see.
Texans, Browns.
Yep,
Texans,
that one
Browns, 14.
That one, there you go. That one disappointed me a lot. The Browns were competitive in the first half on that one. And I was kind of hoping the Browns would move farther. Again, I was kind of liking them. They were spunky. I wanted to see the Flacco resurgence. But I'd love to, see him going all the way, get there, because just a new blood team like that. But they really just, shite the bed in the second half, and I thought that was a really sturdy, strong performance for a relatively young team with a rookie of the year probably quarterback, C.J. Stroud, to come on the second season and take care of business. So I actually. I think I don't remember who I picked now. I probably picked my Browns as a road upset, but I did a lot of bad picks that week. So,
I think most of us did bad picks that first week, except for Whoopa Troopa.
Yeah, so speak for yourself.
Yeah,
Whoopa Troopa was 5-1 that week.
Nice. So I was embarrassed by all my picks that week, pretty much. But that was some crazy stuff there. Then we had who else?
Cheeseheads, Cowgirls.
We'll get to those. We'll get to the NFC in a second.
Right. I want to AFC.
Yeah, gotcha. Whoopa Troopa. What do you think about the AFC matchups we had that first week?
I think I would say I was correct in my original assumption that most of these would be boring, but I was kind of sad that I thought the Browns Texans would be a good game at least, and it ended up it was half of a good game.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the Chiefs Dolphins was how you'd expect with a game that has a -30 wind chill.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even remember the other game. What was the other game?
Dolphins at Chiefs. Dolphins at Chiefs that week.
No, that one. And it was the Bills Steelers, which was, that Steelers team was not good. They had.
I was going by days. I was going by Saturday. Sorry, I was going to Saturday, Sunday, Monday. My bad.
Oh, I thought you were okay.
Yeah, I was. I forgot about the Monday games.
I forgot about the Monday game.
That's one of the problems we talked about. The whole Monday things, and then we ended up having 2 Monday games because of weather. So
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I know that was the one game you didn't get right was the Browns game. So
yeah, I was.
Hello, it's thinking Weasel Tinks. I just had to say hello. So
I thought the Steelers were going to be my road pick, I think, and that was one didn't well for them. But
yeah.
And JT, what do you think? What did you think with these 2 Saturday AFC games? The Browns, Texans, Dolphins, Chiefs.
The Browns let me down. I think they let everybody down except for probably Whoopa from the earlier show. But I wanted to see them go a lot further than they did too. And then the Chiefs Dolphins game or the Taylor Swift Dolphins game, that I was really wrong on that. I thought the Dolphins were going to come in, make the Chiefs look stupid, and just didn't happen. So I was kind of disappointed about that too. I'm sick and tired of the Chiefs always making it this far.
Well, let me and folks, what we're going to do, we're going to go generally through all the games while Clobby's here, and then we will still go longer, and we will dig more into these games as the night goes along, because there's so much to unpack with these. Let me say hello to Jess and to Jeremy. Good to see both of y'all here. We got 15 people here tonight. Thank y'all so much. So, let me throw this topic out though real quick while Clobby's here too. Some of the talk in Florida has been like there's questioning Tua now as an NFL quarterback. It's about whether he can win the big game, whether he is capable of being an NFL starter to go far. There's just rumblings, I guess, at this point. What do y'all think about rumors about that? Is it too early to judge Tua, or is there warning signs on him?
Way too early. What the hell? I mean, he's played very well in his very relatively short career. You can't hang all this stuff on him. What's going on with that team? I mean, he's a damn good player. I mean, can he stay healthy a lot? That would be my biggest question.
Mm-hmm.
But all this stuff can't, this can't win the big one crap on a guy. What has he been in the league? 3 years, 4 years? I mean, is silly beyond belief.
Right.
If there's anyone question that fans just say stupid shit sometimes, I guess, man. I'm sorry for the language.
No, and you're okay, Clobby, because I'm going to be on a rampage in a few minutes. So
yeah, I just think it's a little stupid. I'm not like the biggest fan of the guy or anything. I think that's a little ridiculous.
Well, I do think though there comes a point where you can judge a quarterback, and you know exactly where I'm going with that in a few minutes. So
I got you. Well, I just think he's still
it's too early for him. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's like even in Jacksonville with the Jaguars, they're trying to write off, this guy here, Lawrence, Trevor Lawrence is just trying to write him off, and it's like, okay, maybe this season was bad, but it's still early. And hey, Mikey, Susie Ford, good to see you tonight. Hey, welcome in. All right, well, cool. 9-point spread. Okay, that's okay. Whoopa, what do you think about any rumors about Tua?
I think they'd be silly to get rid of him. I know he's had some rocky seasons, but a lot of that was either injuries or like his rookie year. I mean, a lot of rookies struggle their rookie year. Look at Peyton Manning. You can't write off a guy after his rookie year.
Right.
I mean, heck, you can't even count on a guy after his rookie year. We've seen a lot of good rookie seasons end up in bad careers. But
exactly.
I think this was this his first or second playoff game? Because last year he was hurt for the playoffs.
Right.
And I don't remember if he was in the year before that. But if it's his first playoff game, and I think they said his second ever career game on any level below freezing, like you can't give up on him yet. I think you got to give him a couple more years.
Okay, let's put it this way. Well, I'll save that comment for later. But JT, what do you think about any rumors like that about Tua?
Oh, I would have taken Tua over Jared Goff, but hey, I mean, not that Jared Goff's terrible. I'm just saying I think Tua is a really good player, and you can't really dismiss him just yet. I think you need to put him on a different team and give him a chance to shine, but don't put him in North Carolina. Don't put him with the Redskins. I don't know if Miami's the place for him, but I'm confident he'll do well in the future.
Okay. And take care, OT. I'm going to throw us a little bit out of order, because I want to jump to Monday, because I want to go out on the Sunday games. We can spend as much time as y'all want to say. Like I said, just some initial thoughts with the Monday games, and then we can come back as we have time. But Steelers lose to the Bills on the road, 31-17, in a game that was originally supposed to be played on Sunday, that was pushed off till Monday in the day because of blizzard conditions up in Buffalo. And then the Buccaneers blow out the Eagles 32-9. Wow. I mean, talk about a falling away of a team that collapsed at the end of the year. The Eagles have. Clobby, what are your thoughts with these two games here?
Yeah, I was obviously there's nothing particularly shocking about that Bills game. The Bills are so wild this year that I thought them quite capable of finding a way to lose that game, but I figured in the playoffs I always kind of tilt toward the home team, but I always think there's going to be at least one or two upsets. So I actually had a kind of sneaking suspicion that the Steelers might find some way to win it, but there's nothing surprising about them not winning it. So it was a relatively, straightforward outcome. Nothing super surprising. The big one though is like, you've got to be kidding me, Eagles. I mean, I know you're on the road and all that stuff, but you can to be that awful, backing the playoffs as you did, after playing in the Super Bowl last year. And just to be that clueless and uncoordinated, undisciplined, to go to let the Bucks are crap. I'm sorry, the Bucks are in the worst division in football. I know that division very well. But they, to their credit, they rallied around, and it'd be one thing if they just beat them by a touchdown maybe or less, but to blow them out like that means the Eagles didn't show up, and that was just that was quite a surprise. If you can't get it together and show up for a playoff game, something's wrong with it. And they're going to have a lot of changes there.
Yep, absolutely. JT, thoughts on these?
If you had told me that the entire state of Pennsylvania combined would not beat either one of the teams, that was kind of a surprise for me.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, with the Steelers and the Eagles putting up 26 together, that's just sad for the whole state. I couldn't even watch one of these games, so not too much I can say about it, but not a whole lot of surprises here, really, other than the extreme poor performances of both those teams.
Okay, especially the Eagles. I mean, a team that was on the verge of winning the East, possibly having the top seed overall at one point, just collapsing badly in the last several weeks of the season.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was really stunning for especially just to see a team collapse that badly. And the Buccaneers scored 32 points. Who knew they had it in them? It's like Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans
Evans was a monster.
Whoopa, any thoughts on these games?
Yeah, I wasn't surprised about the Bills Steelers. I mean, the Steelers, first of all, they're missing their best player. TJ Watt's out. He's a huge difference maker, and if you don't have him, you're gonna be struggling. But Mason Rudolph is your QB. I know that there's a big thing. Oh, he went 3-0 to end the season, but he had, I think, in 2 of those games. But I know at least one of those games, they had more team rushing yards than team passing yards. So it's like,
wow,
he's not really getting it done. He already had one chance, and they're like, Steelers are like, yeah, we don't want him. That team kind of reminds me of last year when you had the Miami Dolphins, but it was Skylar Thompson was their quarterback.
Oh boy,
and I think that was also against the Bills, and they got slapped around because it's like, that's just not.
Yeah.
The Eagles was shot. I mean, I did pick them to lose because I'm a genius. No, but I thought that game was going to be a lot closer just because I knew the Eagles were on a skid. But it really did seem like they didn't put up a fight. Like, what? I don't know. I didn't expect them to be that bad. I thought they'd be, make it an entertaining game. But these are 2 games. If you were watching Monday Night Football this week, you probably, took a nap on the couch somewhere because it was just not exciting.
Right.
Each of these games were over at halftime, basically.
All right. Well, guess what, folks? Are you ready for a Dadman rant?
Go for it.
Because we will go. We covered the Saturday games and we covered the Monday games. The great Clobbering Times, if you follow him on our channel last year and even on Sunday Night Geekery and even last week, a couple weeks ago when we met, he always says there's at least one road win in the wild card weekend of the freaking playoffs. And once damn more mother humping freaking ass time, it's the damn Green Bay freaking Packers beating the Dallas Cowboys. Gee, my netties, holy crickets. It's like friggin' ridiculous. Not just when I showed up where our destination that Sunday night, popped in. I'm like, well, laughing. I bet the Cowboys are behind, laughing. It was 41-20 something. What the hell? How does a team get home field advantage against, and it's the first time a 7 seed has beaten a 2 seed from what we saw the other night. How does it do it? You're not even competitive in the game. You're down big. Your defense is so glorious all year. And once again, talking about quarterbacks that should be written off that can't win the big game, You can't even win the first game of a round of a playoff at home. Whoopa told me something earlier. I'm going to let Whoopa have the glory on that, sharing that fact that's come out specifically about the damn Green Bay Packers. I've got friends that love to give me a hard time that are Pack fan about the Dallas Cowboys. So, hey, I'm going to keep rambling and ranting, but Whoopa, go for it. What the hell is with this with the Cowboys and the Packers in Texas Stadium?
Yes, since good old Jerry Jones built Jerry World, the new Cowboy Stadium, the Packers have won 3 playoff games in Cowboy Stadium, and the Cowboys have only won 2 games, 2 playoff games there, which is just pretty fun.
Wow. And that's since 2009, so 11, whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So, Whoopa, how surprised were you to see how this game transpired? And we'll talk more about the game itself. But when I walked in the fourth quarter, I expected at least a close game. Maybe if Green Bay was ahead. Okay. But to be down as much as Dallas was at home, you're just like, you didn't have the cold of Green Bay to rely on. But were you shocked how this game really transpired?
Yeah, I was really, I thought that, if anyone was going to blow it, it would be the Cowboys, but I figured that they would be much closer. And even like the final score looks close. I think there was like 3 garbage time touchdowns. I think the fourth quarter was like 41 to 18. And the Cowboys tacked on some points to make it look, more respectable, but it was pretty much over. And that was, I thought it'd be a good game, and it was an interesting one, but pretty quickly. I didn't expect Jordan Love and the whole Packers team to do what they did.
Yep. JT, thoughts?
At first, I think everybody likes to point at Dak Prescott, but you also, in Whoopa pointed this out backstage before the show a little bit, the Packers scored 48 points. Okay. And it's not like Dak Prescott threw 4 or 5 pick sixes, so how dare the defense give up that many points? Because there was some statistic, I think it's like 27.5 points is the average score for an NFL game, plus or minus a couple there. And if you're giving up 20 more than that, plus, there's no way you can expect even the number 1 ranked offense in the nation, any chance at winning. So, yeah, I don't necessarily think Dallas is a great place for Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott might be a little bit overrated. I think this one squarely falls on the defense. But 32 points is respectable. You put 32 points up against the rest of these games, you win all but one of them, and you tie. So you'd be over 500 playing any of these other opponents.
But I'm going to go as the lifelong Cowboy fan that's watched this team and stuff and had to deal with this. Those couple, like Whoop had pointed out, touchdowns in garbage time, that 32 is very misleading. My problem, and why I put the blame on Prescott, yes, the defense collapsed, but Dak has never shown the ability to get off to, well, except for Tampa on the road last year, finally. But like anytime, especially at home, this is where I had the biggest problem. It's always slow starts at home. They dig and yeah, the defense gives up. But the point is the offense never gets on track early with Dak Prescott. They're always playing from behind and big deficits from behind. It's a consistent theme with them. And now to be the second seed to lose to a 7th seed, that's where I put a lot of blame on him, because it's once again, here we go. It'd be nice, yes, the defense collapsed a bit, but it'd be nice to have your offense coming out, scoring, and keeping up in a track meet, not always falling. Because at the half, it was 27-7 Green Bay. And that's where I fault the quarterback and the offense. Yeah, the defense, fell apart, but the offense did nothing to keep them in the game either. And that's a consistent theme with this quarterback over the time in the playoffs. But Clobby, and feel free if y'all don't agree, say what y'all think. But Clobby, your thoughts on this game, because I know you wanted to pick Green Bay, because you said it could happen, but you're like me, I could see it coming, but I just stayed with the home team. But Clobby, what's your thoughts after watching this game?
Well, like you said, I always think there's going to be at least one in wild card weekend, at least one road upset. It just turns out that upset was not the one I picked. I thought it might be the Squealers, but and maybe even the Browns. It could have been two, but it didn't happen that way. I did not think it would be Green Bay. I thought that it's much more fool me, but I thought that Dallas had a bit too much on defense, and then look what happened. The defense absolutely crapped the bed. I think they are the biggest to blame from a game standpoint of this game. Not as Dak wasn't very good, of course, but I also blame karma. I've said and will say forever that as long as Jerry Jones owns the Dallas Cowboys, they will never win another thing ever, and they haven't since he got his deal with the devil in his 3 90s championships. And that's it. He will not win. He might win a playoff game here and there, which he has a little once or twice. He's also crapped a lot of playoff games. And as far as, and again, of course, that's me being mostly facetious. How can I possibly know that? But it's always felt that way. And I will never take a chance on them in a playoff game again, especially at home. So, yeah. I mean, look, I thought they're clearly the better team than the Packers in terms of their defense has been stout. It's been very good. They've been whacking people at home this year. Okay. They've been dominating people at home. And then they do this. Yeah. Just don't trust them. And people, I don't know if they're going to get Belichick, and if they're not, they're just going to keep McCarthy, but they don't have McCarthy is not the head coach of that football team. Jerry Jones is.
Exactly. The last head coach that they had that was truly a head coach after Tom Landry, they've only had one real head coach.
Jimmy Johnson.
That was Jimmy Johnson.
Even Parcells wasn't. He sort of was, but
I think he kind of went in and retired. He just kind of wasn't going to fight. He just kind of went with it. He knew what the rule was. It was Jerry's team. Barry Switzer, the one in a Super Bowl.
No,
that was
he was an inherited team. Yeah.
Yeah. JT, did you have something else to say?
Oh, no, I was just agreeing with Claudia on that about the whole head coach versus the owner thing and the level of meddling that you get in there. I mean, just look at the Lions. You know, there were many, many, many years that the older Fords were messing around with things they shouldn't have been, and they never won anything. Not a damn thing. They passed over. I can't tell you how many first round picks that were Pro Bowlers, first team, all pro, blah, blah, blah. That, they picked somebody that they washed out of the NFL 3 years later. Great. Yep. So good luck to Dallas, but I think they're overperforming with the way their organizations actually run.
Well, hello to the Woke Breaker. Good to see you too. And,
hey, what's up?
And by the way, Dallas was a perfect 8-0 in the regular season at home.
Yeah, I mean, they were really big at home this year. So I guess we should have known that should have been a red alert. But
I mean,
that's true.
They
that's
outscored.
That's the whole kicker curse. So, when they put it up on the screen, like, oh, this guy hasn't missed in 20 games, and of course he Shane's still on that one.
Well, you know what? Also, Dallas had the highest scoring differential in the NFC with 194 points. Second was San Francisco of 193 points. And then they go basically lay an egg. That's why I put more of the thing as a Cowboy fan. And maybe it's years of frustration on the offense. Once again, a bad start, not staying close in this game. And, karma's a thing, Clobby, because, they got lucky with Jimmy Johnson. Still paying for the way they treated Tom Landry on the way out the door.
Yep.
He
got his three little trophies.
Exactly. Well, listen, I will rant. Go ahead.
Oh, I think there's something to do with Mike McCarthy because I'm looking at his stats. He's got a Super Bowl ring, but he's got his playoff record is 500 now. That loss, he's at 500, despite winning 4 games in 1 year. He's got a
wow.
And he's had. I mean, he started off with Brett Favre and in Green Bay, and ended with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
and it's maybe I'm silly about that, but there's points where it's like you only got 1 ring. It's nice that he got it, but yeah,
exactly. Well, let's do this now. Let's do this now. Like I said, we can come back to some of these games in more detail. Let's get on a positive note while Clobby's still here. And JT, for my ranting and yelling, which may continue later, but JT has got this had to make JT one of the happiest people everywhere. They held on close, but the Lions beat the Rams in the return of Matthew Stafford. I call him Matt Stafford just to make it mad, but hey, Lions beat the Rams 24-23 in a very close game. Lions win first time in the this, JT, go for it.
Yay.
Sure. So this game, I mean, people were so damn excited, and they're still excited over that win. That win was something. I mean, so they have somebody that's had season tickets since 1957, the last time they won anything. They kept
showing that guy on the sideline.
Yeah. This guy is in his late 80s or 90s or something, and they're like poking at him like, are you still awake? They actually won, and he was like just unsure of what the hell was going on in the stadium. But it was a very, in moments of sports, it was an emotional thing. And my sister's down in Tennessee, and we were texting back and forth like the whole game, just because her Titans are done for the year, and this is always her team. But I tell you what, in the third quarter, they did not come out as focused as they needed to be, and the Rams were really trying to take advantage of that. And we got into the fourth quarter. It was back and forth. Years and years of Stat Padford coming back in meaningless games, scoring touchdowns to win games that just made your draft capital worse. I just saw Matt Stafford with a couple minutes left with the ball. I'm sitting here thinking, oh, come on. This is how he's going to steal it from us, because, the mentality, same old Lions, right?
Yeah.
And thankfully that did not happen, but I was rather disappointed with the performance of the offense. I think holding the Rams to 23 was a good enough job on the defense. Lions did not execute the way they needed to. I'm still glad they won. There were stories coming out of Ford Field saying that they were louder than an actual jet engine. That did help them tremendously playing at home, which will be interesting to see what happens this coming Sunday when they're not at home. But you don't score more than 3 points in the second half. Most teams don't deserve to win. Mm-hmm. And the fact that you kept Matt Stafford out of the end zone the whole second half, that's an accomplishment. You have to put that on the defense. So,
yep. The Rams were relegated to 2 field goals, one in the third, one in the fourth, and ended up losing by 1 point at the end there. So, Clobby, what do you think? I know this is going to one of the teams you had cheered for and hoped would make the Super Bowl, and they're 1 game away.
Yeah, I loved it. Not just because I despise the Crams, and not just because my buddy JT Kirk is happy, because I love that fan base up there. I know. I used, anytime you go, in the case of as a long-suffering Saints fan, the first 40-something years of our lives was pitiful garbage. And then when we got when you go that long as a fan of a franchise, like all your life since you were a kid, and you start to become concerned that you're probably not going to live long enough to see them win a Super Bowl, and then they do, and the realization hits you because you're getting old. You go, I lived long enough to see the Saints win a Super Bowl. The call by our great Jim Henderson, our local radio guy, when they kicked the field goal to win that game they deserved to lose, an NFC Championship game against, when Brett Favre wrapped it up in a Christmas present and threw it right to us. Thank you, Brett Favre. You choking son of a bitch. I love you for that. When he gave it back to his Louisiana brethren, and he is from Mississippi, he was right there and lives just right down the street from the Superdome. Threw that interception to Tracy Porter, and when Hartley kicked the field goal, he yelled. Our announcer, he says, "Pigs have flown. Hell is frozen over, and the Saints are going to the Super Bowl." I never thought I'd know that feeling ever. And then when they won it, even better. And a team that has suffered even more than that, in fact, more than any team in NFL history, including the Browns, by the way, are the Detroit Lions. The Bobby Lane curse lasted 10 plus years, longer than it was supposed to. 50, remember, was supposed to be. And I've had friends who are Lions fans. I've always liked the Lions. I like their uniforms. I love Barry Sanders. I even love some players before that, like Billy Sims and Greg Landry. I've loved, was it Herman Moore, Megatron? They've had a lot of great players.
Was it Charles Johnson, the receiver?
Megatron, yeah. I mean, so I've always Obviously, when it's not your team, it doesn't hit you the same hard as usual. But still, you just watch them all the time, and you kind of go, "Man, they've had such bad luck."
What is it?
You hope for them to do well.
What is the curse of Bobby Lane, by the way?
Bobby Lane, when he was traded to the Steelers after the 50, I believe it was the 1958 championship game that he won for the Lions, he was not happy. He was a party guy. He used to go out and get drunk all the time, and Detroit got tired of his shit. Even though he was a good football player, they traded him to Pittsburgh, and he said, this team's not going to win anything for another 50 years. Sure enough, 50 years to the year, they went 0-16 in 2008. It was the lowest thing ever. And people said, well, it's 50 years. That's got to be over now.
That year was so bad, Clobby, that the attendance at the stadium was so low that it was blacked out on TV.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
You could not watch the game live.
Dude,
it was
Dude, it was up until the 2000s, before, when we still had games blacked out here for home games. I mean, the NFL blackout in most cities doesn't happen much anymore, but we had it forever. We went the first 20 years without a winning season, and then till 2001 without winning one stinking playoff game. And so it was pretty bare here. So, but you guys went through way worse, and just I'm happy to see that. I thought, yes, they needed to play a lot better in that second half, and I thought they were going to tank it because the Crams were red hot going into this game. And I was really happy, really rooting for you guys, but scared that they weren't going to pull it off. And they stepped it up, and they did it where it counted. And that was impressive.
Well, Whoopa, do you have any quick thoughts on the Detroit game? Like I said, we can come back. I want to get through the next weeks and talk a little bit going to next week.
That game, just that I think they really picked it up at the end there. And I think it was a lot of that was character and heart that let them see that game through and play just enough well enough on defense. And like JT says, that audience, I mean that fan base in that place really helped.
They deserve it. They truly do. Get that Thanksgiving Day game and all the time, and they always lose the games. And then it's like I kept waiting for them, the NFL, to take the game away from them on Thanksgiving. So, but Whoop, any quick thoughts on this game? Like I said, we can come back to it a little bit later. I want to move through next week's action real quick.
Kroenke sucks. That's my thought of the game.
There you go.
Get the heck out of here. Go back to LA to your 0 fans because no one wants you there.
Who?
Stan Kroenke, the Rams owner.
Oh, he's crap. Oh.
Yep.
So, that's true.
I remember when Jacksonville was rumored to get the next one. They were trying to get St. Louis to have the team, and Kroenke walked in at last minute, but somehow they didn't put enough of a deal, and Jacksonville got the franchise. So thank you.
We've got the Battlehawks now, and they're much better.
There you go. Which we might talk some United Football League coming down in a few weeks. But I'm going to do last week's game, though. We move into the divisional rounds. The Ravens dispatched the Texans easily 34-10, 17 points in the fourth quarter for the Ravens to give a 24-point win. A rally by the 49ers against the Packers. The Packers had this lead going into the fourth, but the Niners come back and win 24-21. Brock Purdy struggled, but he came through and wins it. I know there were some comments about him finally winning a game from behind. Then we have JT Kirk's Great Lions continue the story. It was a tight battle with the Buccaneers into the fourth, but the Lions pull out the victory by 8 against the Buccaneers at home. And then in the final game, a game that one touchdown in the fourth quarter. The Bills had this game, it seemed like, but the Kansas City Chiefs under Patrick Mahomes rally and take the game 27-24. Folks, any quick thoughts on that before we talk a little bit about the matchups, before we hear from Clobby about his thoughts for the conference championship games?
Well, I thought I never got a sense that the Lions were in big jeopardy in that game. And I'm sure Lions fans did. But I think they had a fairly decent handle on it the whole time. But then again, anything bad can happen. I thought they did, for the most part, I felt pretty decent about it going on. I was very happy to see them win that one. On the other hand, staying in the NFC, I really thought Green Bay was going to win that sucking because I don't trust the 69ers at all. I thought they didn't look like they knew what they were doing. And However, to their credit, they did come back and win it. So those are my basic thoughts on those two. The other ones, Houston, they're that team that a little overachieved a little bit throughout the course of the year, and they were just winning over their head. In Baltimore, who was just far superior opponent. And oh my God, wide right. Could you find any other way to lose that game? Look, I can't stand the Kansas City Swifts. I'm so sick of the Kansas City Taylor Swifts, but oh God, I wish I really love to have seen the Bills for a lot of reasons win this game just because I'm sick of the Chiefs. But my God, why really? Jesus Christ, why, man? Why?
Hey, Clobby, what do the Buffalo Bills and the Florida State Seminoles have in common?
What?
They fly wide right.
Oh, yeah, it's true.
You remember Florida, FSU, Miami, and the
yes, sir, the 90s
wide right.
That's like 2 years in a row. Bobby Bowden, Jim Steve Spurrier talking about.
Yep. Well, that was against the Miami Hurricanes, and
it was like Hurricanes. Okay.
And there was one game where Bobby for sure thought the field goal was good because he's running on the field, and you see him put his hands up behind his head. It's like, what the hell? He's like, what? It's like, it's like even he was stunned. It was crazy to see that. So
crazy week.
Absolutely. So, Whoop or JT Kirk, any thoughts now, or do you want to hold off and let's let Clobby talk about his? Let's go ahead. We'll talk more about this game, Whoop and JT. Clobby. So then that brings
I do have to run in a second.
Yeah, that brings up the conference championship games, which puts the Chiefs on the road at the Ravens and on the AFC. How do you see? What are your thoughts coming into this game?
I've never been too big of a fan of the Ravens. I hated the way Art Modell did Cleveland dirty, and I'm sorry, I'll never get over anything other than Baltimore Colts. I just don't like anything else in Baltimore. However, I'm really sick of the Chiefs. Ravens are straight up a stronger football team. I think they're going to probably win this one. Although never ever discount the possibility of at least one road upset in NFC Championship week. Yep. Never one, not two, but one maybe. If there's going to be one, it will probably be this one. However, I hope it's the other one, and I do think that the Detroit Lions, Mr. JT Kirk, have a chance. They're going to be my pick for the upset because, like I said, I think I would not be surprised if the Chiefs pulled an upset. But I think they're outmatched. However, something about the way that the 49ers have been playing or played this past week. They didn't play in the first week, right? I don't like the way they played last week. I think they were reckless. I think they kind of made some plays at the end there, but they weren't very consistent. I know the Lions haven't been 4 quarters consistent either. They're going to be on the road, but man, they're going to be hungry. They now are going in with some big time confidence after those two in a row for the first time in 60-something year playoff wins. They're going to go in with some confidence. So it would not surprise me at all if they were able to pull this one out, and I would love it.
Okay. As would I, for obvious reasons.
And I'm going to pick them to win it, actually. I picked them to win. I picked the Ravens to win, but I picked the Lions. That's going to be my big upset.
Okay, so let me mark that down to make sure I got that. So you got the Ravens winning in the AFC, and you got Detroit winning in the NFC.
Right. This is one of those weeks, one of those NFC Championship weeks where anything could happen, and I would be surprised by no outcome. But I'm going to say that it's far-fetched to say 2 road wins or 2 road upsets, but 1. And if I have to go with 1, I like the Lions better, and that's weird considering how strong the Chiefs are, and but I'm going to do it that way.
Exactly. I understand that. Well, we're going to hold off on our picks for a little bit. But do you have any other thoughts? I know you got to go in just a couple minutes, or any wrap up thoughts, any other comments that we may not have gotten to, or any other observations you wanted to share?
No, not really, dude. Just appreciate you guys had me here. Wish I could stay longer. I love talking.
Quick thought. Can I talk? Quick thought. I see a headline, and maybe I'm a day or 2 behind because I was out of town. But Chargers hired Jim Harbaugh as the next head coach.
Heard about that.
That was today. That was this afternoon. Yep.
Weird.
Wow. What are they saying up in Michigan? I mean, well, Clobby, what are your thoughts on that hire?
Oh, well, pretty good hire. I mean, he's I mean, I don't know. He has had some success in this league, hasn't he? So, unlike most head coaches, from college coaches, I mean, he is actually didn't win. Some would say he almost won a Super Bowl, considering some stuff that happened in that Super Bowl against his brother. But he's had some skins on the wall in the league, so I think that's probably a pretty good hire. It's a shame it's in that shitty market with San Diego. I was same as them, but sorry, my alarm thing going off. But I think it's pretty good. I mean, if I were a Chargers fan like our old buddy Gary Beekler used to be, I would probably be excited.
I forgot he was a fan of that team. You're right.
Yeah, but the Spanoses are such horrible garbage owners, and they took. I mean, look, if I were a San Diego Charger fan, I would not be happy about them moving back to Los Angeles because their first year of their existence, they were the Los Angeles Chargers, but then they were San Diego. So I would not be happy about that at all. And I would imagine that feeling of your team being ripped away from you, moving to another city. It's got to
another city that already has a team.
No, they have it. Yeah. Even worse, man. And by the way, what if you were in Los Angeles and you're around the same time they get two teams? I'm like, what am I supposed to do, man? They play in the same state. I mean, I never had a team. Now I'm glad to have one. I don't need two. What the hell is that all about? Who do I choose? You flip a coin? What's the deal there?
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep.
But gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. I wish I could hang more. I really enjoyed this.
Exactly.
I don't get to talk this stuff that much.
Exactly. So what you got? What do you have coming up on your show in about 10 minutes?
Well, tonight I'm just going to be doing my usual wild card Wednesday night. Anything goes talk and stuff like that. And then tomorrow night's the clubhouse with Raquel and Mark. But buddy, I appreciate you, Dadman, and as always. And you got having a lot of fun here. And Whoopa, good to meet you again. Good to hang out.
Yeah, good to see you.
And
Absolutely.
JT Kirk, buddy, go Lions all the way. I might get me a Lions Super Bowl champion shirt and hat.
There you go.
Go for it. Go for it.
And if I don't have to go to if you know what I'm saying, a foreign country to get one, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
You don't have to mess with you, buddy.
But I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
All right, brother. Thanks,
care.
My friends.
Exactly, Clobby. Hope to see you next week.
Right,
we'll talk next week again.
Take
and
care.
Thank you again. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
That, folks, is the great clobbering times, my friends. And JT, if you can put Clobby's link out there for us, I appreciate y'all doing that. And Sci-Fi Mombi, I saw you come in earlier. Do not rush. Do not worry. I've got JT and Whoopa. We will keep the fires going. And if you cannot join us, then just let me know. But, hey, we're going to be here for a little bit. We're going to take a look at the games a little bit further in a little bit more detail. We kicked the first weeks around really good. So, Sci-Fi says no, it's going to be Chiefs again. So,
oh, geez.
So, exactly. And yes, check out Clobber's Times. Great Wildcard Wednesday after our show is over. And tomorrow night on Thursday night, the Clubhouse, which is a variety of things. So, all right. Okay, let's go back to the first week. I know I really am pissed about as a Cowboys fan with that game, but I JT, I know we were a little cramming a lot in there. Any other thoughts that you guys have from the first week, any of the games, especially you, JT, because what did that first game mean to people? I know you kind of touched on a little bit, but really, what did that mean to the community? Because you had the former quarterback coming back, you had all these other sidelines, because I was thinking that maybe Detroit would crack under the pressure of all these off the field stories.
Well, yeah, and so you saw all that the whole week leading up to the game, and then the day of the game, you saw these celebrities showing up. I mean, I heard my coworkers selling tickets at $800 a piece plus.
What?
Yeah, and not even they were pretty good seats, but not, the first 10 rows on near, between the 40 and the 50. Nothing like that. It was one of these feelings that, wow, I don't have to go searching for NFL talk because everybody's talking about it. Before the, unspecified virus of mysterious origin, we used to have water cooler talk in the office, and people would talk about The Walking Dead or Game of Thrones or this, that, and the other. But Detroit has some of the highest number of championships, but also some of the worst teams out there. The Red Wings were bad for a long time before they won a ton of cups, and now they're bad again. Tigers up and down, have been down for a while now. The Pistons after 05-06, well, they just set a record this season for the highest number of consecutive losses ever in the NBA.
That just doesn't
with 28
seem right.
straight losses. So you sit here and you think, okay, people kind of make fun of the teams here and there, and then you have these fans that you would just say are drinking the blue Kool-Aid because they would just think that we're going to make the playoffs this year. And most years you never did. And the season was over before Thanksgiving. And so that Thanksgiving game, you know, the Lions had it every year, and you were joking, you were kind of wondering when the NFL was going to take it away. That was their Super Bowl. That was the little, you know, consolation prize that the Ford family felt so proud that they had that game every year. And it was like, why? So it can be on when we're all trying to eat dinner, because it's the early game every time.
Yep.
You know, there was a lot to not be happy about. And people for years, you know, for the longest time, I would root against the team. I would actively sit there and root against the team because it was more fun to watch the other team come in and win every week and just watch people's dreams crushed. It was more fun doing that.
Well, let's take a look at this.
Most of the time, you were right.
Well, folks, this is kind of the detours we like to take, because this is Squirrel Channel anyway, because we are getting, we're trying to, we have time to talk about, we got a lot to, but this is a great point you have, JT, because as Jaguar fans were always that way for the longest time. It was more fun to cheer. And then, of course, when they really sucked, then you got to hear all the negativity on the post-game shows and really have a lot of fun. It was actually more fun to listen to all the bannering and yelling and screaming on the post-game shows. And Whoopa, I know you from an NFL city. I'm sure you've had the same experience, right?
Yeah, especially with the Rams and all those years. I was sick and tired of, and partially this is because, again, in a unique situation, because our owner was trying to get us to stop coming to games, and he succeeded. He was really good at that. But it was just the whole thing of like, man, I'm tired of going, 7-9. And them just being like, all right, we'll run it back next year. You almost want to see their team lose and hope, hey, maybe this time they're going to actually make some changes because of it. And there was also a funny time, I think it was one of the years we were really bad. That doesn't narrow it down for the Rams, but what was it? Oh, there was a year, it took until week 4. Our kicker, they started off the year with like 2 field goals and a touchdown, I think. And then it was just kept going field goals. And I think it took until week 4 for him to, or for the entire team combined, like not just one person, the entire team combined to have more points than our kicker, Greg Zuerlein. Like, it was just like, at this point, I'm like, come on, get more field goals. I want only field goals this entire year.
The Lions were that way. The Lions would be serious about their kicker. And their kickers were often some of the highest jersey sellers overall. One, because they would be there for 20 years, but 2, they would be the leading scorers. And when have you ever seen the Lions going to the playoffs? Very, very rarely. And you sit here and everybody talked so highly of Matthew Stafford, but you know what? A lot of people would call him Stat Padford, and I still do, because the guy would put up 400 yards in a game and they'd still lose. Or they would be 3rd in the NFL draft, and all they needed to do was win the last 3 games. And they would win all 3. And it's like, okay, you moved yourself from 3rd down to like 12th. Okay, great. What is that doing? And people would go on the coach. They'd go on the front office. They'd go on the quarterback. And it's like, this whole organization just needs to be nuked several times over. And it still didn't work.
And you feel bad. You don't want to cheer against your franchise, but if losing gets so bad, it precedes apathy, which is apathy. Like they say, apathy is the killer. You just you almost rather have somebody hate than being apathetic towards everything, and it becomes more fun to be not giving a rat's rear end or cheering against your team than to try to expend the effort for them.
And yeah, so Dadman, I almost called you Clobby.
It's okay. It's contagious around here. I call everybody something else.
I know, right? So, once you think about all of this, and I could go on for another half hour, the fact that they haven't done a 30 for 30 on the Lions is a travesty to anyone that's a fan of that documentary series. Well, that would be like the last one they would ever need to do. Mm-hmm. But when they finally won that playoff game, and I know it sounds like you're setting the bar so low, that had been something that, you didn't see for over 30 years. There are whole generations of grandparents to parents now to grandchildren where they might have been born after 57 or they might have been 2 years old. Mm-hmm. They've never seen the Lions win when that wasn't the Super Bowl, the 57-58 season. It was just the NFC Championship game.
And what's frustrating is, like you said, you get somebody like Matthew Stafford. I'm going to call him Matt Stafford because I only want to. That's the Matt Stafford that played at Georgia, could never beat Florida, could not win the SEC East. But then again, he plays there, gets a contract, gets paid, then he goes to another team and wins a championship. It's like, really?
Well, they knew he was going to do it. And that added to the legacy, Dadman, because they said, oh, good riddance to him. We got Jared Goff. I mean, come on, what the heck? People were really not happy with that.
Yeah.
I still don't know. I mean, he's good enough and he lets you have salary cap other places. Okay, fine. You'll see that in my prediction for the games coming up this week where I kind of am thinking about this. But people were saying that would just be, I don't know if it's called karma or kismet or fate or the Lions curse, whatever you want to call it. But Matthew Stafford's going to leave this team and shove one down them by winning the Super Bowl after he leaves. And sure enough, right after he leaves, the dude wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. Whoopa, as a St. Louis fan all those years, what was it like to have a team and then to have the team dump? I mean, you had a team once say, screw you, leave. Then they came back and then they said, screw you again and left again. And that's after we had the St. Louis team that went to be the Arizona Cardinals. So it's like 3 times, I guess. Yeah. So
it was not great. There was a point in time where like a lot of apathy set in. Because I mean, St. Louis, don't let people tell you that they can't support multiple teams, because if you look at how things have gone lately, and for the Battlehawks, the new soccer team and the Blues and the Cardinals, they can certainly support a lot of teams. At the same time, this is a baseball city. That's number one always. And when you've got a team that's, I mean, the Rams, after the Greatest Show on Turf got broken up and you had Mark Bolger, God, I hate that guy.
Yeah,
I do not like him. And so you got all these guys, you string together. I think we had a ridiculous streak of we'd have an 8-8 season every now and then. But it's just like, we can't have winning seasons, and you go on and on. And there was never really a sign of like your team getting better. Like we draft this offensive tackle 2nd overall, and he's like never good. There was never a point where he was like, oh yeah, this guy's gonna be good. He was just instantly bad and stayed bad. Draft, Sam Bradford, and he was never really that guy. Somehow was better than our alternatives, which is sad. And it's like, oh, Bradford's not good, let's get rid of him and pick up other guys. And it's like, well, these guys are even worse. How did we manage to pull that one off? But
some of the most amazing payouts quarterbacks have gotten over the years in the NFL. It's just wow.
It was really frustrating how all that stuff went on. And yeah, I think eventually people were just like, people started to root for different teams. Like and I think the fact that the Rams weren't here that long didn't help. Like my dad was always he was more of a I guess you would say a Brett Favre fan, but he rooted for the Packers because when he was growing up, there was no team in St. Louis, so he just rooted for whoever, and that happened to be the Packers. And a lot of people, so you have this big thing, and the greatest show on turf, everyone's ready, and then the team just tanks, and this owner comes in and just sucks the life out of you, and it's just tough to get back into it. And at this point, I mean, with two teams leaving and the way that this team left, I mean, I don't think the Rams, I don't think the NFL would, I don't think people would support another NFL team in St. Louis ever. Like, there's a point where it's like, if they talked about it, it's like, why should we believe that you're going to stay here? And it's a good question. But can I continue? I want to get a little long-winded, but what you were saying, one thing that's always funny about like being a bad team is like you get some weird stuff that happens in the sense that like I was talking about our kicker being like the leading scorer and stuff. The year we got him, we got Greg Zuerlein and Johnny Hecker, the punter, in the same draft, and that was like, it was the craziest thing because I've never seen anyone get more excited over special teams in their lives than us that year. Like, because we were still bad. There's not like you're look at this offense, it's not good. The defense always had good pieces, but it didn't have like good depth.
That just reminded me of the year the Jaguars drafted a punter. I think it was Brian Anger, who's now with the Cowboys, like in the second or third round. It's like, you're that close. So, let me.
But sorry.
No, I was going to say, we've got a poll out here. What matchup do you predict in the Super Bowl? 49ers Ravens, 49ers Chiefs, Lions Ravens, or Lions Chiefs? So pick there, folks. What do you think? Okay, go ahead, Whippa. Sorry.
But it was just funny because, you had, they call him either Greg the Leg or Legatron, but Greg the Leg's better. Legatron, I just had that because I was around when Megatron was going on. And you had him because our offense, like our defense was actually pretty good. We had a few playmakers. James Laurinaitis was always fun to watch, and Chris Long. And our defensive line was really solid. But regardless, our defense pretty good. Our offense awful. Like, if you got past the 50-yard line, it was a damn miracle. So we're having, like, these ridiculous kicks. And we've got this new rookie kicker. And it's just, it's like, it's the end of, it's last play of the second half. Let's just kick a field goal because who cares if we miss it. And you had Greg, this rookie Greg Zuerlein kick a 70-yard field goal, and it misses wide left. It's just like he had this leg strength, and he's kicking this thing, but he just didn't have the accuracy. And it was just like, dude, this guy is crazy. You're seeing this because this was before Justin Tucker broke the record.
Yeah.
Sore spot for JT Cook down there.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to talk about one that I wish your Muslim uncle, who is our Raiders fan, was here for. But you remember with the year that the Raiders took Sebastian Janikowski?
Oh, yeah.
In the first round, it was like crazy. And so Mikey's now saying his Niners are going to win their sixth NFL title, be tied with the Patriots Steelers, who've got 6 Super Bowl rings each. And JT says, keep dreaming. JT may have tipped some there, but go ahead, Whoopa.
Oh, yeah. They had, besides the kicker, we had the punter. He was doing good as a punter because, again, offense bad, so he's getting a lot of work. But we had a whole thing where I think we did 2 fake punts, and he got first downs on both of them. Our whole city just like, put Hecker in at QB, get him for us. He can't be worse than what we've got.
I believe he was from Oregon State, wasn't he?
I don't remember where he was from. I just remember
Johnny Hecker.
He was
the name's familiar. Yeah.
He's been a great punter, and it's just funny because it was, we've got the young kicker just booming 60, 70-yard punts, and we've got this punter who's playing better quarterback than our quarterback.
The same thing's happening at South Carolina Gamecocks, where their punters actually throwing touchdowns on fake punts when the offense struggles. It's hilarious. So, all right. Well, let's see. We talked. So, JT, any more about the Lions Rams, or you want to think?
I'm just glad that Matthew Stafford had to go back to LA.
Right.
And they were all, his wife was all upset because people said they hoped he would lose and all this stuff, and they thought Detroit was their home and blah blah. And I was like, well, you guys left, and now you're playing against the team that you left. What do you expect?
Yep.
But
Whoopa, do you want to talk? Whoopa or JT, do y'all want to talk any more about the first week games? I mean, I ranted enough about the Cowboys.
I think I'm good.
Yeah, I got enough there.
All right, so let's go into the second week. We'll take a look at these games a little bit more. First game of the week was the Ravens and Texans, and this was not close. Ravens win this game 34-10. The Texans ran into a buzzsaw. They were hot. Everybody was kind of getting on their bandwagon, with the rookie quarterback, the move on the, they won a very bad division where the Jaguars collapsed at the end of the season. I know somebody that they changed their Twitter handle. It had the record of the Jaguars like 8-3, then they missed the playoffs. So, I mean, the Jaguars lost like 4 of the last 5 to lose the division to the Texans. CJ Stroud only threw for 175 yards, and they only ran for about 38 yards. So it was a complete domination of the Ravens defense. So we know that they have a defense. Lamar Jackson only throws for 152 yards, but 2 touchdowns, doesn't turn the ball over. Runs for 100 yards and runs for 2 touchdowns. So again, we have a quarterback dominated pass option, but they handled the Texans pretty good. Thoughts on this game?
The Texans let me down. Well, I'll be honest. The Texans let me down by not losing the first game because I wanted Joe Flacco revenge game.
Right. I remember because I was on the bandwagon with the Flaccos because dang, they got turned the team around, and I know he got a contract extension too, I believe. So, which is going to lead to an interesting situation next year in Cleveland. Does that mean Deshaun Watson moves down the road after all the trade that brought him to town? Oh, hey, wait, I got to stop real quick. Your Muslim uncle. Hey, there you are. I just mentioned you a minute ago about Sebastian Janikowski when he was drafted in the first round by the LA Raiders many years ago. Good to see you, sir. But yeah, this game, let's see. Mikey says he'd like a 49ers Ravens Super Bowl that both Kelsey Bros can cry about the Taylor Swift. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
That's awesome.
Go
ahead.
This game, I think it shows how some of these other teams that were coming into the playoffs have not done as well as they thought. And this whole theory that teams let off the gas going into the playoffs and all this, I don't think is true. I think the Ravens are a good example of a team that has kept the pressure up, and they didn't need to put up 34 against the Texans, but they sure did. You contrast that to the performance of teams like the Eagles, who people were like, they already knew they were really good, blah, blah, blah. Or you get into some of this talk about the 49ers even. I think the Ravens will be in the Super Bowl easily. I know we're jumping ahead on that, but this just demonstrated that when they play a team and they outmatch that team, good things are going to happen for them. I really did want to see a Browns-Ravens matchup, like really, really bad. Unfortunately, we didn't get it.
Yeah, I mean, the two cities hate each other. Go ahead, Whoopa.
I was really hoping Liz, I get. This is a side rant. I get tired of Lamar Jackson. I don't like him. I'll just be completely honest with you. It's not necessarily because of him. It's just like he is not in top 10 in any single, like zero, absolutely zero passing stats. He is in the top 10 in. But he's going to be the MVP because he has the most important QB stat, and that's rushing yards. And it's just so frustrating to me. And everyone's talking about Lamar MVP. The Ravens defense, which is amazing, held the team to 10 points. And this Texans team is an above average offense, held them to 10 points. This defense has been great all season long. And genuinely, I'm not saying you get rid of Lamar because he is a good quarterback. I just think he gets way too much credit.
I don't think you pay him.
Right, I wouldn't. And you're getting to the fact that their backup, Tyler Huntley, somehow a Pro Bowler, has started, I think, 10 games. In 10 started games, he scored more than 10 points in 8 of them. And again, Lamar Jackson's better than Tyler Huntley. I'm not making that argument. I'm not saying that. Just the point is, if you're talking about MVP, Tyler Huntley, if you replace Lamar Jackson in this game with Tyler Huntley, they still probably win the game because that defense is the most valuable thing on that Ravens team. They've been shutting out people all season, and they shut down the Texans here. And at the end of the game, you don't hear people on Twitter or on ESPN talk about how great the defense did. They said, "Oh wow, Lamar Jackson did a great job and proved he's the MVP because he threw for a whole 152 yards, which is crazy numbers here." I'm sick of it. So I really wanted the Ravens to choke in the playoffs like they always do. Well, always do lately. But they won, and so there's that.
Yes. Y'all keep talking. My screen's doing something dark, so can you still hear me, JT?
Darth Maul getting on the screen.
Darth Maul is doing something.
We lost him. We lost him.
All right.
So
time to transition to talk bad about the Cowboys.
We could talk about another game, maybe one that I know he probably doesn't want to talk about that much, but Chiefs Bills, or maybe he does want to talk about wide right, but I feel like we already went there.
Maybe we could start talking about it. And I think he'll be back before we finish.
Megatron. I think you're right. Darth Maul might have, taken things into his own hands or his own legs. It's tough to tell on that one. Anyway, Dadman will return shortly. Okay. So, did you have any thoughts about Chiefs Bills?
That game was good. There were some questionable calls. I wouldn't, not that I would. Oh, he's back.
Exactly. All right. Well, I am back. Fortunately, yeah. Darth Maul tried to do something, but Darth Maul is only half a thing. So he's a half-rate Sith apprentice. So he has no power of me. So, all right. Exactly. Let's see.
We were going to switch to Bills Chiefs at that point, Dadman, if that's all right with you.
Okay. Well, we'll do that. But your Muslim uncle said, "Hail, sir!" And I think all the cities and fans of these teams should be proud they got this far. And if you're proud of my team ain't in it, at least it's a competitive game. Yes, we like competitive games, don't we? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh gosh, snort! Stunning. I'm placing the only toilet in the area into the T-Rex paddock because I love my guests. Oh gosh, but you guys are great. Hey, okay. Well, let's take a look. Yeah, there's not much that we can say about this game. But let me go back, and I will. Let me bring up some of the numbers for that game. The Bills Chiefs, I thought was a pretty good game the way it ended. I was actually in the mode of thinking that the Bills were going to win that game, but I just kept waiting for the Chiefs and Mahomes, and we got that. We got the late fourth quarter touchdown with the Chiefs come back at the end of the game to win this game. And that's, let's see what the game cast, because that last touchdown that the Chiefs scored was with 4:03 left in the game. Okay. So actually 14:20. Let's see. No, it was 14:20 left in the game. Okay. So it was early in the fourth quarter, but you still had the feeling, Kansas City was behind. They were kind of behind the whole game. And then they finally pulled ahead of the Bills, and then really nothing really happened. But then, like we said, the wide right hits. Like Mikey Susie Ford said, the last wide right brought the curse first full circle since last wide right against New York Giants in the 2019 loss. Exactly. So we won't, Mommy. We won't. We're waiting for you. Just drive carefully. We're going. We'll make this a 24-hour stream if we need to. It's all good. But
we can.
But yeah,
I
two things.
really
Also,
noticed here.
also with Mikey, real
Mhm.
quick. Mikey also said the Buffalo Bills are cursed forever, and then said that one with this. So go ahead. What's your thoughts, JT?
On this game, I noticed that in the past, Taylor Swift was always in a climate controlled,
Yep.
Suite, so she could watch her boyfriend and
Well, you know what?
be the
Hey,
full focus. But in this game,
let's do something. Let's do something real quick. Let me call an audible real quick. Let's hold off on this game for just a second. We teased it a little bit, okay?
all right.
Let's wait for Sci-Fi Mommy to get here because I want to hear her reactions to all you guys too with this. So we will call a little bit of an audible here, and we will go with another game that was kind of.
We could go back to Saturday. I thought you wanted to talk about that one, and so
I do. But
Well,
I don't know. I have a lot to say on that one. Surprisingly, really interesting to see. So
Really?
So let's wait for Sci-Fi Mommy to get here. We got 14 people with us tonight. Holy cow! 11 on the YouTube side. Smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you have not. We are trying to get to 600, but thank you, and follow us on the Twitch side, folks. This is incredible. You guys in the audience amaze me. Y'all rock. I mean, it's always encouraging to get people to watch sports ball talk. So, okay, let's talk about the Saturday game. The Niners and the Packers. The Niners score 10 points in the fourth quarter to win this game. They come from behind. I know there were articles about Brock Purdy finally winning a game from behind. He's Mr. Irrelevant because in the year he came out of college, he was the last player drafted in the NFL draft, and yet he's on the verge of a Super Bowl appearance. We do have some news that Deebo Samuel was hurt in this game with a shoulder injury. I've got the latest on him in a second because I know Mikey had asked about that. See, both JT, you had picked. You had picked.
I believe it was Green Bay.
Yeah, you picked Green Bay in this one. You took the Niners.
Game.
Yes, I don't blame you. I do not blame you. So, as somebody watching this game with a vested interest, were you waiting for San Fran to pull this game out like they did, or did you really think Green Bay may have had a chance to win this game?
I was saying all week that Green Bay had peaked the week before, and a 7 beating a 2. Yeah, that's closest thing to a Cinderella. If you're talking in NCAA basketball, it's like a 15 beating a 2 or 16 beating a 1. It's happened, but very, very rare. So in having seen the Packers play throughout the rest of the year, I didn't even think they should have been in the playoffs. I thought a couple other teams that were on the bubble had a better overall record. And so I really did not think that they were going to pull it off, but I rooted for them anyway, and I predicted them to win because I wanted that home field advantage, 1. 2, they got up enough early on in that game where I'm like, okay, fourth quarter, I can not think about this too much. And then they go ahead and lose. So, yeah, they played that game where they get you interested and give you hope, and then just have it snatched away. Yeah, I've seen the Packers do that to my Lions enough times.
They had a 21-14 lead entering the fourth quarter.
Yeah, there's no reason they should have scored at least a field goal. At least a field goal. So you thought, how hard could this be for them? But apparently it was too much.
Yep. So, Whoopa, your thoughts?
It was a pretty good game, and I was surprised that Brock Purdy did not look his best. I know he had a couple, I think on that last, if I remember correctly, on that last drive, he threw what could have been a pick, but it was dropped. Went defender, had it and slipped through his hands. But he ended up, winning the game, and I wonder something that team I feel like they're really good, but we've seen them struggle now when they're not healthy. And at the end of there, I really wasn't sure in that last drive. I was like, I really don't know if they're gonna do it, but they did pull it off in the end.
Jess is saying pulled a Lovie Smith and blew the lead in the fourth. So let's see if they carry 2 or 3 quarterbacks into the playoffs this year after what happened last year. When Christian McCaffrey had to be the quarterback in the conference championship game. Did not work well for them. So
and see, that's another thing. This is another thing. I get frustrated about a lot of the narrative that goes around, but they're like, again, all the stuff this week was like, oh, Purdy proved that he's good, and they're not talking about the fact that once again McCaffrey had 2 rushing touchdowns, had over 100 scrimmage yards once again, and I think he caught the most passes. I think he caught 7 passes. So it's like this guy is.
Yep, 7 passes for 30 yards. Yes, 7 passes for 30 yards. McCaffrey had 17 carries, 98 yards, 2 touchdowns. But also what Mikey's pointing out here, Dre Greenlaw had 2 picks of Jordan Love. The second one was a desperation toss, but you kind of knew when he threw that one up that was going to be picked. So,
the second you saw it leave his hand, you were like, no.
Yeah. Floating across the middle of the field and all that. But hey, before we get done with this game, we're going to bring in the great Sci-Fi Mombi to get her thoughts on this game, and then we're going to get some more thoughts. Hey, Sci-Fi Mombi.
Hello.
How are you tonight?
Howdy. Oh, hold on.
Uh-oh.
Is it working now?
You're working.
Oh,
we
it's
hear you. You're fine. You're
one of those days.
You're coming through nice, loud, and clear. How are you tonight?
Oh, I'm finally home.
Yay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Glad you got home in one piece and everything. And hey, good to have you. Did you have any thoughts on this game?
Which one is it?
Which is Green Bay at the 49ers, with the 49ers winning 24-21.
When I saw the 49ers take off, I was like, Green Bay's done. Yeah. I don't know. It just seems like Green Bay isn't the same without Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers isn't Aaron Rodgers anymore either.
Well, I mean, the Packers are losing in the divisional round, so that's pretty much exactly where they were with him.
Yep.
Yeah, people don't want to admit that either, but it's kind of true with Green Bay. They were always portrayed as this team that's going to go so far, and then quite often they just didn't.
Yeah, exactly. But I tell you what, Green Bay did beat Dallas. That's why I keep telling all the Green Bay fans, you beat the Dallas Cowboys. So that should make
when you play Green Bay twice a year, and then it's the Aaron Rodgers show every single time. You're just like, enough already. This team is not that good.
And Dak Prescott is pretty good quarterback. I mean,
well, don't tell Dadman that.
Don't tell Dadman that.
He is during the regular season when he can pad numbers like Matt Stafford. Yeah,
right.
Get him into the playoffs. It's like a different. And like we were talking about that game earlier. Okay, fine. I can get that Dallas' defense fell apart early, and I got that, and they didn't really right the ship. But for these contracts, these quarterbacks get paid, especially when he wants all this money and extra, to be the highest paid or one of the highest paid quarterbacks. Then dadgummit, you got to deliver in the playoffs, and he constantly falls short. At least, even if the defense fell. Keep your team in the game by scoring points. Get the offense going early and often. And that's one of the biggest complaints I would have with him is that he never does that in these games. They're always playing from behind in these games. So, but any other thoughts did you have? I know we jumped from one Green Bay tonight, but with the Niners and Packers, any other thoughts with that game?
No, not really. Just that,
Okay.
What I said.
All right. Well, that's cool. Whoopa and JT, any other thoughts with this game? Because I do have one last thought on this game. When y'all are ready
I don't know if you want to talk about or hold on. I didn't know if you wanted to mention because I know Mikey was talking about Deebo Samuel. You want to talk about that?
I will talk about that in just a second. I wanted to see if you had any thoughts though with it before I gave an update, because we do have an injury update on him.
Oh, I didn't have anything to add besides just no, I think the fact that Christian McCaffrey's been able to stay healthy here in
Mm-hmm.
San Francisco has been a game changer. I mean, if I had a vote for MVP, which I don't, I'd pick him as the MVP.
I can agree with you. I mean, yeah, I agree with you, especially after watching. Bucky's is back, had to go for a bit, but hey, you're back. That's what counts. Yes, exactly, Bucky. There you go. As long as you're back, I won't speak French. So you got to stay now. Otherwise, I'll bring out the French. No, I'm just kidding. But hey, Mikey says, though, that Dallas overrated. Yep, that's what we're calling. Yeah, that's it. But you know what? Until there's a regime change, we got what we got. Okay, Deebo Samuel. The latest on him, because Mikey had asked about this earlier. The current report is that he is still in pain. He got injured Saturday. It did not come back. Still dealing with a lot of pain, according to Kyle Shanahan, the head coach. Did not practice Wednesday, so his status for Sunday is still uncertain. And he obviously Adam Schefter was reporting that he will not practice today, and the status is uncertain. So that's a big question mark for them. When we look back at the numbers in the game, like Whoopa said, Christian McCaffrey had 7 catches, but only 30 yards. But George Kittle stepped up for 4 catches with 81 yards and a touchdown reception. Jawan Jennings. Oh, is that the Tennessee guy? Jawan Jennings. Oh my gosh.
That's one thing. That's always funny.
Tennessee. You want me to sing Rocky Top? I've gotten addicted to singing Rocky Top.
I'm good.
Shows.
That's never good to hear That's never good to hear from a Florida Gators fan.
Dude, my Gators are condemned forever with the coaches we got, and it's not any better in basketball. But anyway, we won't digress on that tonight. So,
I was
yeah,
gonna say that's always funny because I have this. There's one guy at work that really loves to talk sports, and I talk with him. And it's always funny because he's just like that. Like you're pulling out Jawan Jennings, the Tennessee guy. I'm like, I have no idea where most of these NFL guys
well, if they're in the SEC,
school,
I'll tell you if they're in the SEC. So,
but I can tell you, like people will be like, "Who's so and so's third string quarterback?" I'm like, "Oh, it's this guy."
Exactly.
Like, how do you even know that? It's like because I study fantasy too much. That's why.
All right. Well, Sci-Fi, did you have any thoughts about the Ravens-Texans game from last week? Ravens beat them 34-10. Any thoughts on that, or any thoughts on the previous week? The Lions, like the previous week with the Lions and the Rams or the Cowboys or the Cowboys and the Packers. Did you have any thoughts of your own for that first week?
I knew the Ravens were going to do great, but that was just a blowout. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was like the Texans didn't even show up. As for the Lions and the Rams, I'm proud of the Lions. Sorry, Rams.
Not sorry.
Kroenke doesn't. Yeah, exactly. He don't need another ring.
He doesn't. He doesn't deserve good.
Hey, even if I didn't like the Rams, Kroenke's enough to make you go for JT's team that week. I know.
That's right.
I think Kroenke's enough to make me go for anyone. I think that's the only time I ever remember rooting for the Patriots was when they were playing the Rams in the Super Bowl.
Wow. Mm-hmm. That's interesting. All right. Any other thoughts on that first week games? I mean, we had the Cleveland Ravens was a disappointment. Kansas City, Miami, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Dallas, Green Bay, Detroit, Rams, and Philadelphia, Tampa Bay. Any other thoughts on those games from the first week?
Not really, no.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure in case you had something reserved up. I think one thing we thought earlier, though, Sci-Fi, was the fact that the Feagles, Jeff Feagles was the old punter, The Eagles sure limped in and did nothing,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Jason Kelsey's face, because he's supposedly he's retiring.
Right.
Was just, but then he made up for it last week at the Chiefs game. That was so girl dad. I just really love that story.
Okay, well we'll hold at the
hold on to it.
Yeah, the game this week, the Chiefs Bills game. Is that where that happened? Mm-hmm. Okay, well we'll hold it because we're going to talk about that game in just a second. Then, all right. I just want to give you a chance to talk about the first week since we didn't. We talked about Packers 49ers. My great friend and a friend of the channel, the great, glorious, and ever loving and sweet Daisy Blossom Flower Child, is a 49ers fan. So her team is in the NFC Championship game. So we're going to have a head-to-head on Friday night. We do Buck Rogers talking Buck Rogers. So join us at 9 o'clock Friday night to talk Buck Rogers. And I cannot help but think Daisy Blossom and JT Kirk, our Lions fan, may have something to say that night. So join us for
I always knew there was something up with that, Daisy.
Yes, I know. But hey, to tease that, lead into this game, the game of just it really was my computer's glitching again. That's kind of funny. Every time I go into something else, it decides to do a weird thing. Let's see. We've got the Chiefs Bills. So Sci-Fi Mombi, the floor is yours. You can talk whatever. What did you think of this game as a fan watching this game? How did you think? I mean, you had to be nervous in this game.
Oh, yes.
With the cold. So, and tell us about that. The Kansas City Swifts now, but go ahead.
Right. It was a great game. I mean, it's nail biter on the edge of your seat. I was working, so I was listening to it on the radio, and Mitch is he's one of those guys that you could see it in your mind as he talks. Mm-hmm. But just there were questionable calls, and I hate to say it, but there's questionable calls everywhere now, it seems.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time for a revamp of, the referees. But
can I ask you a quick question? When you say questionable calls, what types of calls are you talking about?
I can't find my notes
because there are the obvious infractions, and there's also those judgment call things. Because I have a thought on that, but because I'm curious, like I said. What type of penalties? I know one of the biggest debatable ones are pass interference many times, or holding. Half the time they don't call it. Yeah, Go ahead.
Holding is my biggest pet peeve, because if the cameras can see it clear as day and they have instant replay, why can't the refs see it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many more angles do you need in a stadium to see some dude holding another guy on the other team? I mean, come on.
And you're not talking about the little side glance things. You're talking about the obvious, like where you got the hand around the neck.
Horse collars, helmets, real holding that,
Yes. Well, listen to this. I'm going to interrupt real quick because we can stay that. Find your notes, because the great Bucky's Crafting made a great comment in here today with the sports. Saw Babylon B meme saying that they're giving seeing eye dogs to all the refs, which I thought was funny. JT Kirk would agree with you after the Dallas-Detroit debacle, right, JT?
Oh, yeah. But, that's fine. That's fine. We still did all right in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what counts. You're still playing these days. But you got a common thing with Bucky's with that. I just think that sometimes what may be happening, though, and granted, some of the pass interferences are obvious. Some of the holdings are missed that are obvious. And I don't think you can slow it down and replay and stuff like that. But I will say, as somebody that does officiate basketball, sometimes these games get fast. And if you have to make a judgment, it's bang, bang sometimes, and you have to make a split call. And sometimes you'll miss even the obvious ones. But then again, it's different when you're volunteer and different when you're somewhat professional, like, get paid what they are. But the speed of the game, I think, is a complication. These players are so big now. Look at the short guys calling a lot of this stuff. And I have trouble in basketball sometimes when we deal with the older players that are taller. It's sometimes hard to be in position. You got to be in position. You got to be moving and getting angles and stuff. So I do think it's becoming more difficult. And it's also the number of rules and the increase in the number of judgment calls. That are they in the tackle box or not? Are this, that, and that? Are they doing this? Are they got the blood sample of the third born kid or something? The rule books are getting so long and so complicated. They're making it hard for anybody when it comes. That's why I think overall, it's very difficult to be an official these days because they've made it so complicated. And maybe that's what's causing the problems with the basic obvious stuff that we see that gets missed. What do y'all think about that?
I don't really have sympathy for him.
Okay, and that's fair. That's fair.
I don't.
And that's always been my question too, is there enough refs on the field?
Mm-hmm.
You think there is? Because sometimes I wonder.
Well, they've been adding them over the years, and of course now they have the one that gets. They've repositioned the umpire. Was it umpire now is in the backfield with the head referee? They've worked on repositioning officials too. I mean, how many can you really have per se, without them becoming an obstacle in the field? We already have the crossing patterns with the guy right behind the defensive line. He's a natural screen there.
I mean, sometimes when they get in the way, it's kind of funny, but then again, you're going, oh, I don't want to see any other people getting hurt. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. I mean,
I like what the now UFL, but the XFL did last year. They have a lot of transparency with their whole process, even if what's his name still sucks sometimes. I forget his name, but I still remember watching at the game, and they had him. They called something a catch. Then they're like, "Well, we're reviewing it. They're reviewing it for pass interference." No, he challenged it. And we were reviewing it for pass interference. I saw it, and they showed the replay at the stadium, and they're just like, "We're looking at him. Like, look, he hits him. He hits him, and you can tell on the replay." And they're like, "Well, it's not enough." I'm like, "What do you mean?" And then our head coach for the Battlehawks said, "I don't know. I don't have a degree in officiating like this guy." That was still the best. No. Sorry, I just. No, but I do think that process is a lot better, and when you can when you have someone kind of in the booth watching the game from above, just saying like, "Hey, wait, stop the game. We want to review this play," and it never took that long. Like, it wasn't like you're sitting around forever. It didn't add that much time to the game.
Yeah. Well, I will say though, I do think that there can be difficulties with it. I think natural speed, gets hard, but in the length of the rule books cannot help, especially for judgment calls. But like Bucky said, when you're refereeing for the NFL, and I think that they talked about making them full-time employees, because a lot of these guys, I don't think you need them to do as full. I mean, what are they going to do? Sit around and watch videotape? It's like they work other jobs. They come in and officiate a game. That's all you really need. I mean, you don't need.
Why are they working other jobs? The NFL has how much money?
Well, what do you think about that, though? Do you think that they should just pay officials enough of course, that's more cost to the league and everything else. And, well, of course, that joke about ticket prices. I'm trying to be nice, JT, about cost to the fans and stuff, but we know how out of control the cost to the fans are. It's all corporate now. Like you said, your friend could sell tickets for what, $900 per ticket?
Ooh. Yep.
I don't think
it's a big expense to the league, especially if you want to couch it in increased player safety, and they're trying to make all these calls to try to make the game quote unquote safer for the players. And then you go around and you just have people that have other jobs that are part-time, and this is supposed to be a professional league. It never has sat well with me that they had that, because you're hired. I know they're supposed to be the best in their field, but they're amateurs at their job. Right. If you have another day job, you're not a professional in that field.
Well, let me say hello to my friend Liam Graywolf. Hey, Liam, good to see you tonight. Hope you're doing well yourself. Thanks for checking in. Good to see you. Oh, Liam, also tell your mom hi and tell her we're looking forward to talking some San Francisco 49ers too. JT was ready for her on Friday night. So,
yeah.
But let's see. Stunning said, "Don't make me a ref. I'll throw your ass out for not tying you." Dude, I can agree with that. Go old score on them. Dude, I tell you what, last year with officiating the basketball, I took the more the fans yelled at me, and it was a church league. That's what's so funny. I'm like, okay, fine. Y'all want to yell? I'll blow the whistle again. I got the whistle. It's hilarious. So, but yeah, exactly. And Mikey agrees with Bucky about that. But and that's interesting. There's been a long debate, and this is a long debate about whether they should be made professional or not. And being basically full-time employees, and that's an interesting way of looking at it. Although,
I just wonder how much how much does the NFL pay them per game? Something
Jess is saying as a Bear fan who gets
please.
screwed by the refs, obvious bias against us. I say screw them. Wow, refs have no sympathy. All right. But go ahead, Sci-Fi. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just wondering because you get like, if you paid these refs, they work every weekend for,
I want to make
weeks.
what they do.
Right. I don't know what they do, but it's like
they make $12,000 a game. This is according to Techopedia and the NFL Network. So they make $205,000 a season.
Yeah. So if you're giving them that much per game, why not just make them full time?
I want to
because
make.
they're certainly
put me on the
making
field.
enough.
I'll do good.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're certainly
Mhm.
making enough money for it.
But
like,
I will tell you though, honestly, as somebody that has officiated, I know I'm not a pro. I'm not stuff like that. And I know, but I tell you what, you go to a church league, they're on your butt, even if you're an amateur official and stuff like it. It's hard. It's hard. You got the crowd distracting you. You got the players, the size. There's a lot to go on. You can't let your concentration slip at all at a moment's notice. I think it's just part of being human is that no matter how, quote, professional and how much training you've had, I think it's always going to be a factor of the human condition. Of just humans are to make errors and stuff like that. Look what they're experimenting. Aren't they experimenting with the computer umpires in baseball too about balls and strikes?
Yeah. That's just the umpires, or I hate the umpires union. They need to, because that's a whole. I could go for a long time on that. So
who needs a union at that rate? With what they're getting paid. Yeah,
you can't fire anyone. So you got that's where you get freaking Joe West and Angel Hernandez, who does need a seeing eye dog.
Yeah.
I don't know how he makes it at the home plate, man.
Studding said, "I'll be the TikTok Batman of referees." Yeah, they are not full time. They do work their jobs. Some are airline pilots, some are whatever they, things, and then they show up to officiate the game on Saturday, Sunday, whenever it is. So, and SPD girls, just to say, make them full time and have them go through as much training and reviews of what they did, like the players.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking, if you get $12 million per game, I feel like at that point it would almost be cheaper for the NFL to be like, listen, you work for us full time, we'll give you $200,000 a year.
Well, what time of part-time employees have a union like that?
Yeah.
It's like,
I don't think the refs, if you give the refs full-time stuff.
Yeah.
If you got the opportunity, I don't know if you've ref football, I know you're talking about basketball, but if you get the opportunity, it's like, listen, you're gonna have to work 17 weeks of the year. They're gonna have to fly you around, and you might have to work a little bit more, and then we'll have because your work will be 17 to 20 weeks essentially, and there'll be a lot of travel, but it'll be one day in those weeks, and then you'll have maybe 3-4 weeks or whatever of full-time training, and then you get a ton of time off. You would have probably a solid 6 months where you're just not doing anything. I feel like if you're a ref, you're like, oh, I'll take that. That'd be pretty nice.
No, I agree, Bucky. I love the debate. I love the spirit. I love this discussion from everybody tonight. And I love Bucky involved in, and all you guys. Jess is a man, and I do agree with this principle. If you're making over $200,000 for a job, you should be held to a higher standard than a volunteer. Absolutely, I agree. There's nothing but I still think that there's some element of the humans are prone to making mistakes and things like that. And I just think that it's very no matter what you do, there's still going to be mistakes, no matter how much you professionalize, how much you do whatever. And they're left to basically all you can do is punish them, which is maybe a suspension, or you don't work the playoffs or stuff like that. But JT, what do you think? Your team got screwed this year directly. It didn't cost them in the long run, with that game against Dallas. Do you think that the punishment that the crew got was sufficient?
Was it sufficient? I don't know, because I would say no, it's not sufficient, because the only way that you could have made that game right in my mind is if you would have gone back and said, nope, they did score those 2 points. Now the 2 points would have changed the winner of the game. And there's no justice, quote unquote, out of a screw up like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So whatever they do, we're going to pay them 10,000 instead of 12,000 for the game. Fans don't care about that, right? So I don't think they got something that really is going to fix the issue, one, and really fit what their mistake did to the whole game. And I'm totally behind just paying them a little bit more and making them be exclusive to the sport, not having these other jobs. And you make a mistake like that, I mean, come on. That's why we know that they make mistakes all the time. That's why they have the red flags that they throw in. Yeah. I think that should be expanded a lot more, because there are so many mistakes that they need review. They need a lot more review.
Well, what about another thing, Whoopa, maybe you touched on it a little bit there, was that, wow, we got 15 people with us tonight. Thank y'all. Love the spirited discussion. Feel free to opine. Bucky, Jess, thank you. Anybody else with thoughts and opinions, feel free to share it out there. Also, vote in our poll. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't on the YouTube side. Follow us on Twitch. We got 5 on Twitch and 10 on YouTube. Thank you all. But, Whoopa, it's, what if we had something, like you said, the XFL kind of experimented where they could stop things, they could do stuff looking up from stands. Do you think part of the solution really could be that if the officials see it? Because what they've got now is like, you only get your limited challenges, and then only after in the 2 minutes or after score where they look. But what about just stopping, just, hey, we see this is wrong, stopping it from upstairs and saying, stop, no more, stop the play. We need to reverse this and fix it. Would that be a possible solution?
I'd like that. Another thing that I really like, I think that having that kind of person at the, kind of getting the surface level view, because you can miss. I mean, it's hard when you've got. I mean, most of these NFL players are taller than the refs, for obvious reasons. So you can miss something if you've got that overhead view. Maybe they'll catch something that they wouldn't. Otherwise, it wouldn't cost that much. I don't think it would be more than it would be the XFL, but that person doesn't need to be at the game. That person can get a live feed in their office. That's a thing that they do in the NHL, where if there's a challenge, they go back to, I think that's in Ottawa or Toronto, where they'll call back and be like, hey, what are you seeing from this, or something like that. So you can have kind of a base of operations and not have extra people at every game. Yeah. One thing that I think would help a lot is, first of all, I think they should stop fining players for talking about the refs. I always find that odd, just because it's they can just say, I think you can go a little too far sometimes, but I think there's a lot of times where a person just I don't agree with that call, and it's like, you're fine. It's like, that's I don't see why that's a big deal. Then it's, if you're going and saying, oh, the ref sucks and he's a loser and he bet on the game, and that's okay, that's a little too far. But I don't agree with the call.
But one of the problems that I think with doing anything like that is probably the league. Okay, because this is one of pet peeve with me, is that, and Bucky's talking about, you're making plenty already for a part-time job, even if you make them full-time. But I will say the trend in college as well as the pro sports, and it pisses me off, they don't mind charging you a lot more money, increased ticket prices, all this stuff. But what is the number one concern from college to the NFL? Started NFL, and it's now worked in college. What's the number one pressure? We want to speed up the game. We want to speed up the game. You're never going to be able to do that if you have a true replay system, or we're going to correct calls that we can correct them. You're never going to do it, because the emphasis is on the league is to give you less game for more money. Their objective is to get the game over so quickly. And basically, that's why I don't think they'll ever do anything with a good, real, true replay like that, like they should, to correct a lot of stuff.
You're absolutely right. They want to smash the game in as tightly as they can, but they're going to keep the same window so that way they could have more commercials.
Yeah.
And that's all.
I've always gotten that. I don't understand. I guess I know some people think like this because there's always been a big thing in baseball. I've had a lot of people that are like, well, it's just too boring. It just takes too long.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think those people are gonna like baseball if you make it short. I like baseball no matter what. I never cared about the game's length. Like I just enjoy watching baseball. And I'm Gen Z. I have a short attention span, and I can still watch these sports games. So it's just like, what? I don't know. I always get frustrated with that because with college, as JT's saying, you get a flash of, get the kickoff and you go to a commercial and then you come back and you see 2 plays and they're like, all right, and then you're back out to commercial and then you come back and they do a coach interview and then you're back on commercial. It's like, oh my gosh.
Oh, it's even better. A lot of times they're so stuck on the commercials or their silly interview that I don't care about that you miss the action on the field.
Oh yeah,
that happens like almost every game. You miss action on the field, and all of a sudden it's like second down, and you're like, wait a minute, where was first down in all of this?
There's so much stuff. I work at Pro Football Focus. I just got my Polo today, so I'm a real official employee.
Oh,
but
congrats.
We'll get feeds from the game, and because we're working it live, and they give us just like what they recorded from the TV station or whatever streaming service it was on, and you get the most the dumbest you get the dumbest camera angles ever. I forget what I had where they're just like the whole thing's going on, and we have to mark where the players are pre-snap, or basically at snap. And the whole time they're zooming in on Jaden Daniels' face. It's like who wants what does this tell us about the game?
Well, forget Jaden Daniels. We got the Kansas City Swifts,
It's just like they're zooming in. They're showing someone in the crowd. Okay. They're just showing the coach, or they're zooming in on one player's face. It's like, I have no idea what's going on right now. The play's going on. Can you show me what's happening?
Listen, I'm telling you what, our chat is awesome. We got people in here that are really going really cool and contributing in this discussion, and we're going to keep going with this. We kind of went off the rails with the Kansas City game, and we're going to get back to it, but I love the participation, especially with a lot of you guys out there and ladies with a lot of this stuff, because that's why I say sports can be all kinds of issues and a lot of fun and discussion. But Sci-Fi Bombi, tell me, as a Kansas City fan, what does it feel like when you have to sit there watching your football team and you sit there and see the Swiftie there smiling at the camera?
I think she's distracting Kelsey. Just like when Mahomes first started. He was already dating. What is her name? His wife. And she came to the games. That was distracting for him. And then when they got married and she got pregnant, that was distracting. I think that it's going to work. Hey, excuse me, teenager in the room.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, go ahead.
I think it's going to work itself out. I think they're going to, honestly, I think they're a cute couple. But we need Kelsey's head in the game.
Exactly. You can't deal with that.
Yeah, there were several teams this year that had his number. They knew exactly, they had been watching practices or something. They knew the routes. They knew exactly how to stop him. And I think he's just focusing too much on, hey, Taylor's in the crowd. Yay.
Yeah.
Not, oh my God, I need to win this football game so my team can go to the Super Bowl again.
Yep.
Yep. But and also his family is there with her. Now his mom is adorable. She's really funny to raise two, right? Because Jason's won a Super Bowl with the Eagles, correct?
Right.
Okay. If I was her, I'd be like, yeah, my sons are Super Bowl champs.
Yep. Well, we will get back onto that game a little bit more with the X's and O's in a second. We also hit the Lions for JT, but I want to hit a couple more comments that came in from our great viewers tonight. And Whoopa, I don't know if you can look this up or if you're sure. Jess is asking, don't they have somebody watching the feed for the Super Bowl? I think they may, but I don't think the rules change. I think it's still the same regular season rules. I don't think that they do any more.
I think they take a little bit more care, at least from when I worked for CBS. I know that maybe they had an extra officiant up there. They were watching it double time.
Okay. Well, that's interesting to know. But yeah. All right. Because you definitely want them on the big stage and not to mess it up. But see, Bucky's Crafting has probably one of the comments of the night here. Sports aren't meant to be a 15-minute thing. It's supposed to be an event. People getting together. I find it dumb to try to make it shorter. Some of the best memories I have with my wife were 18-inning minor league baseball games. Dang it. I mean, you pay an admission, let the game play naturally at the right speed of what it's meant to be. If you don't like it, don't go or leave early, you know? It's just this deal about rushing them out. It just, especially when it affects games and the gameplay. And Lupa's heard me rant about baseball like that, especially rules that have started in minor league that have gone into the major leagues now, like the runner on second in extra innings and all the other crap like that. But that's another decision. But the point, like Bucky, this is a great point. You know, it's supposed to be an event. You know, you got the tailgating, you got all this stuff before. You know, nobody's supposed to be worried about whatever. You worry about work the next day, but you know, you want the event, the experience to last. But it's just like they try to force everything into an artificial time. The clock keeps running nonstop. Next thing you know. And the team can't come back. Like in the old days, teams could come back because of the clock rules. Clocks would stop more often, and you did have things that happen. But now it's the pressure is, and they're looking to squeeze the clocks all the time. Instead of one of the things I think is instead of having these 40 and 45-second play clocks, cut them down to like 30. Make them get, especially now that we're using in the NFL the helmet mics. They don't need that much time. Make them run more plays in a game of what's allotted. If you're going to keep the clock running, then shorten the play clock and make them run more plays. At least maybe you offset for what they do now is you can run out. It's not hard for a team to just about use up the entire first quarter on the opening drive with the clock rules in the NFL.
They have, I always think about this because I thought it was such a cool game. Was it A&M LSU, the 74-72?
Yep.
I remember that specifically. I mean, it was not a bad game, but I just remember specifically because you keep hearing like, oh, it's OT. And I remember that because my friend in college, he went to Baylor with me, but his older brother went to A&M. So, Texas football rivalries. But the dad, he just was happy that everyone was doing good. So he went to the A&M game with his older brother, and we were sitting there like watching sports together, and we were like, oh my gosh, it's in double AT. My brother's there. He just keeps checking in. His brother was like, this is amazing. We're just watching the game go on, and you're like, oh my gosh, they keep doing it. Something keeps happening every time. And that was a great game. And then college football for some reason was like, yeah, this sucks and we should change it. Like, no, I want every game to be 7 OTs. Like, if I could, I mean, like, that game was so much fun, and college seemed to think it was a problem and instituted the new OT rules, which I hate with a passion.
Exactly. And I also say, let's see, Corey said that some games will drag, others will be fast, but that's the way it's supposed to be. So, yeah. So, exactly. Let people be amazed at how quick a game is instead of being the norm. And sometimes they last long. It's what it is. It's what happens. So
when they go to double or triple overtime, it makes it great.
Well, I tell you, with the NFL overtime rules, I hate. I'm all for the sudden death. Let the first team, if they get a 50-yard field goal, it's over. I don't have this equal opportunity attitude, but then again, that's another debate for another day. All right. Well, let's finish up with this. We still have got to get the Lions and Buccaneers and let JT talk about that game too. But the Bills Chiefs. Any other thoughts, Sci-Fi Mommy? What was because I tell you what, I thought the Bills. I kept waiting. The Chiefs are one of those dangerous teams that I kept waiting for them to strike. They get the lead, and then of course Buffalo, and of course the Buffalo wide rights. So, how were you feeling as a fan there, though? Sci-Fi.
I have a superstition, especially on playoffs. I don't. I mean, if they're, I try not to watch because I feel like they're going to lose if I watch.
Yep, I understand.
But
that.
I was listening, and it seemed like Buffalo was just like charging, very well through the whole game, and then they just seemed to get gassed. And our defense is good about that, or at least they try to be. Yep. Spagnuolo is notorious for that.
Yep.
So, I really would like to see the Bills, because being a Chiefs fan, we had a drought for a very long time, and I can understand how the Bills Mafia feels. Mm-hmm. I mean, honestly.
Don't tell that to the Dolphins fans, though.
Okay, so any team that hasn't won a Super Bowl, I feel for you. Well, I really do.
Right. Yeah. Well, now, JT or Whoopa, what are thoughts? Did you have any other thoughts on the Chiefs-Bills game before we move on to the Detroit game?
I noticed one thing that was an important thing that's been missed so far. Mm-hmm. All the other playoff games and the whole rest of the regular season at home, I saw Taylor Swift was in the suite. However, when she was at Buffalo, I saw her outdoors.
Yep.
And, this was a substantial step down in accommodation for her. And so I feel like, the Chiefs should have, gotten 7 extra points just for this level of sacrifice.
There you go.
Well, what cracked me up was Jason Kelce wandering around in that, that outdoor area without a shirt on.
Yeah.
I mean, was that insane?
Was that the story you were talking about?
Yeah. So what happened was there was this cute little girl, and I think she's from Buffalo. No, Pittsburgh. I forgot where she's from, but it was on the Today Show. And she kept telling her friends, I'm going to the Chiefs-Bills game. I'm going to meet Taylor Swift. And they were like really close to the family box where they were at. Mm-hmm. So she kept making her way towards the box. And people kept letting them change seats. And so she finally got up there and she ran into Jason Kelce. Mm. And she's like, look, I really want to meet Taylor. I was telling my friends, and he's like, come with me. And he like lifts her up and puts her into the box with Taylor. And is her name Tiffany Mahomes?
Brittany.
Bethany, whatever her name is. Mahomes.
Karen.
Yeah. And all these pictures of them together. And it was just a really cute story. Yeah. And I heard they made cutouts of Jason Kelce without his shirt on.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure they did.
Yeah, it's hilarious. There's like one up in Union Station around all the balloons and stuff. It was pretty funny.
Oh, that's too funny.
I would say
he's a character.
Something to note about this game: the head ref was that one guy, the big muscular ref guy, Ed Hockley or whatever, the line coach. Mm-hmm. He has refereed now 9 Chiefs games in his career, or nine specifically Mahomes games, I should say, because he's been around a while. And the Chiefs are 9-0 in those games. It's very, very interesting. I'm not trying to imply anything, but
what are you implying?
Something's interesting there.
Well, that's cool. All right. Well, let's, in the remaining time we have, we're going to take a look up to this coming up week. But before we do that, let's give JT the floor a bit to talk about the Lions. Actually, a game that on the scoreboard was a little bit close, was tied into the fourth quarter. A game that could have been a little bit I don't know, close for comfort as a Lions fan. You did, unfortunately, the Cheeseheads came close, but you won't get that extra playoff game. But at least, hey, one, it's tied at 17 entering the fourth. But what do you, as a Chiefs fan now watching this game, how are you feeling? Like I asked Sci-Fi Mommy, how are you feeling as this game went along?
Oh, yeah. So I was watching this, and the late game, all the attention's on this team. and I knew the Bucs just weren't very good. So I was like, I felt good going into the game. I was coming off of that 1-point victory the week before, thinking, okay, we've got to do better than we did the second half last week. So, I wasn't terribly concerned we weren't going to win until things got later and later and later in the game, and then it was a tie game, right? I really didn't think they were going to have it in them. Texting back and forth with a lot of my friends, we were kind of all in agreement that the Lions just looked like the worst pass defense team in NFL history. I mean, there was not a pass that the Bucs could not complete. And there were plays where it was 3rd and 15 and they would throw for 32. And you're just sitting here like, 3rd and 15, do you really need to be sending 4 after the quarterback? Apparently you do, because they could just throw whatever they want on the corners. And that's really how the Bucs made a game of this.
Mm-hmm.
There was a whole debacle at the end where they said the Lions didn't play the clock right, and if the Bucs had used their one timeout, they could have forced the Lions to have to get a first down.
Yeah, I saw something about that. What was it was on Twitter, wasn't it? There was something.
It was
on
in
Twitter
the fourth quarter.
Fourth quarter.
It was the very end of the game. Well, here, do you remember it?
Yeah, it was the last set of downs. It was under the 2-minute warning, I believe. I think there was like a minute and a half left, and they started taking knees. But the way that it was played out, they didn't like let the clock run down all the way leading into that. So there was a scenario where if the Bucs had called their timeout, they would have forced the Lions to have to get a first down or else change over possession.
Right.
I think it was something to do with, like, pretty much if they had called their timeouts and the Lions don't get the first down, then they had 40 seconds. They would have like 43 seconds left. And the Lions probably would have kicked a field goal, but as we saw in the earlier game, that short field goal is not always guaranteed. And
right.
The
incredible thing was neither team was going to press it, right? Like both teams kind of just assumed the game was over, and it was like, well, technically no. Not if you wanted to be really sneaky about it.
Never give it up. Never give up till the final. Yep.
That was the thing that was like, because the odds are incredibly low, because the Lions probably would have kicked the field goal. And even if they didn't, you'd have 40 seconds, no timeouts to drive down like 80 yards, and you have to score a touchdown in 2 points. But this is the freaking playoffs. If you have any, if you have a snowball's chance. Right, yeah. If you have a snowball's chance, you might as well take it. Worst case scenario is you call a timeout and the score ends 34-23 instead of 31. Like, that doesn't matter. You're trying
and
to
especially their ability to just pass the deep ball and have no one be able to stop them.
Mike Evans, 8 catches, 147 yards, 29 on the longest touchdown.
Yep.
Cade Otton, 5 catches, 65 yards, a touchdown, longest 27. Chris Godwin, 4 for 40, 17 yards. Rashad White, 4 for 36, 12 yards. Trey Palmer, 2 for 32 for 23 yards in the longest. So, I mean, it's long completions there, we'd say. Baker Mayfield, 26 completions, 349 yards, well over 10 yards of completion. The thing, though, is Baker Mayfield again, 2 interceptions. Again, turnovers.
And when you're looking at this game and you're trying to figure out, okay, who did you want to win the other games, it was like, okay, well, obviously the Texans, but you already knew the day before that wasn't, those games were already done the day before, but I wanted the Packers to win because I knew they'd be easier to win against. But you look at the teams that were left, right? The Bills, the Chiefs, all these other teams, and now you even look at it, the Lions' weakness is their defense, and so you hope you play a team that has a lot of offensive yards from a quarterback that doesn't have a lot of long throws, because that's your chance at stopping them.
Exactly.
Which might mean Lamar over there on the Ravens might have a tough day if they play the Lions in the Super Bowl. Because I think out of all the quarterbacks, he's the one with the most running yards and fewest deep passing yards, something like that. There's a lot of analysis you can go down, all kinds of paths about, but coming out of that game, I was like, yeah, okay, we handled this team. But boy, it was not pretty. That 23 points really, I mean, you said what, 359 passing yards?
349 yards before,
and you only get 23 points out of that. I don't know.
Well, folks, listen, next week we'll probably get into more of this preview looking. Actually, you know what? You'll have a week, because we'll have next week's conference championship games. Then we'll have the Pro Bowl that comes after that, which is now a joke, but maybe, and we'll have a week then, and then the next week will be the Wednesday before the actual Super Bowl. So we will be next Wednesday talking about last week, the results of the championship games, and then probably the following week we will just dedicate the whole time to really ripping the Super Bowl matchup apart, statistically and any other way we want to do it. So we'll have more time to really get geeky and nerdy into the details and all this stuff. Guys, any other thoughts about this last week's games? Our championship rounds, we have the poll out there that I'm still waiting to close in a minute. We got 13 votes. Any last thoughts about any of the matchups in the first 2 weeks of the playoffs before we move on looking at this week's matchups?
I thought it was crazy that because the game was so cold for Kansas City that first week, that Mahomes' helmet fractured.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I heard on ESPN that that's what they're supposed to do, but it just seems like maybe they should take another look at making sure the helmets can withstand those kinds of temperatures just to protect, because CTE is a really big problem in the NFL.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I did see the article where the manufacturer said it did what it was supposed to do. So why something's supposed to shatter, I don't know, just because it's cold. But I mean, that was obscene types of colds, though. I know last Tuesday I was doing a live stream from a falls, and oh my God, I thought my hands were going to freeze off. I had no gloves on. And like nowadays, I'm like, after that, I wore gloves. So I appreciated wearing gloves for once. But yeah, it's just cold that you can't handle. So, any other thoughts, guys, with the games? If not, I do say Becky's crafting. I always think of yarn in terms of yarn and fabric. It's a lot of fabric, but practically nothing in yarn. So I don't know which one is more comparable. Let's see. Practically, Mrs., if you're around, you might be able to help interpret this one. So let's see. It's a lot of fabric, practically nothing in yarn. I would say it's more in terms of fabric, because see, yards can be a lot. Yards are 3 feet. I've seen the bolts and stuff at the craft stores and stuff. You get 20 yards or 10 yards of fabric. That's a lot of fabric, and that's kind of how it is in football. Like JT was saying, 349 yards is a lot. That's 3.5 football fields of passing on however many number of plays that they ran. Let's see, they ran 15 carries, 41 yards. So that's 350 yards on roughly, let's see, 56 plays. So that's a good chunk of yardage. So I would think of it more in terms of yarn than fabric. I mean, fabric than yarn, because 350 yards is a lot. Like, look at Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson only threw for about 150 yards in his game. Like JT was saying, the short passes and stuff like that. Jared Goff in this one threw for 287 yards, and the missus agrees that it would be more comparable in terms of fabric. So, all right. Hey, love it. Love it, guys. I love the talk. So, oh gosh. 350 yards, so about one skein of yarn. I got it. That's perfect. Bucky, I love you. Bucky, I love having you here. And listen, folks, this is why I argue that sports can be anything to all people with an open mind, because we can nerd and geek and all this other stuff. And I'm willing to have fun with it by bringing into quilting and fabric. Thank you so much. And the missus, thank you to the missus. So, but yes, however it takes you to equate, that's awesome. So, all right. So let's move on to the matchup this week in the remaining time. Let's start in the, oh gosh, heads or tails. Number 1 to 10. I got a number in my head. Sci-Fi Monday. Guess the number 1 to 10.
5.
Okay, JT. Number between 1 and 10.
8.
JT wins. JT, do you want to talk your game first, or do you want Sci-Fi to go first?
I'll defer.
Okay, you defer. JT wins the toss, defers. Let's talk AFC Championship game. We have the Kansas City Chiefs, Swifts, and whatever else.
They need some Snickers.
Yeah, at the Baltimore Ravens. So, oh my gosh, listen, we're really going to geek this thing out. If I bring the missus on and we invite Becky to talk, you need 1,000 yards of yarn to knit a Tyler sweater and less than a yard of fabric. So I guess that's the comparable thing of how, okay, nice, missus. Thank you for that translation for us. We appreciate it. All right, so let's start with the great Sci-Fi Mombi. Your Chiefs are on the road at the Ravens. How do you see this game coming this week? What are you hoping for? What do you expect? Are you nervous? So what do you think?
Yes, I'm nervous. Patrick Mahomes now has an on-the-road game in the playoffs under his belt. So both teams look good. I just think that our team needs to focus a little bit more and stop yelling at each other. Mahomes, you heard me. They need to come together and coadhese together. And the Ravens seem to, like I say, they want it. And I know that the Chiefs want a dynasty. So, of course, I'm going with my Chiefs.
Okay, you're taking Kansas City in this game, obviously. Mm-hmm. Okay.
But I can see the Ravens walking away with it if we don't stay focused.
Okay. Whoopa Troopa, what do you see? Who do you take in this one?
All right, this is what I see, and this is 100% based absolutely nothing on football analysis. So, this is the thing. Maybe people, I'm sorry, Sci-Fi Mom, they don't like what I'm implying here, but listen, the NFL wants a Taylor Swift Super Bowl. The NFL, I think they're gonna make sure they get what they want. That's really the only basis that I'm going off of here. That, and I don't want to say that I don't want the Ravens to win. But they feel like the better team. At the same time, there's just Taylor Swift on one side. NFL knows how many eyes they can get. Well,
she brings in millions of dollars for the NFL. I mean, yeah.
They want her in the Super Bowl, and for that reason alone, I think that the Chiefs are going to win. That's really all I got.
Why didn't they?
You think there's a narrative?
Halftime.
Well, and I was going to say there is rumors that Usher has been trying to get her to join him at halftime.
I think. Listen, the script writers have been working hard this season. They've been putting in a lot of overtime. I feel like this definitely seems like the predictable move in the script.
I don't know if it's on ESPN or Twitter or somewhere. I saw something about a little clip of a video of is the NFL scripted, on first down, but we'll see.
Surprise me.
We still have 13 people hanging out with us, guys. Thank y'all, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. Thank you for the crafting talk. I actually enjoy crafting talk, by the way. Many July 4ths and Black Fridays, I've gone with my wife to Joann's and stuff when they had good sales and bought bolts and fat quarters and stuff like that. Yes, I know the term fat quarter. I know quite a few things that my wife has taught me over the years. And we actually spent a time in our tours at the Denver Quilt Museum, Rocky Mountain Quilt Museum. Loved it anyway, but I digress. So JT Kirk, you, my friend, how do you see this Chiefs at the Ravens?
I think Clavi said it pretty well earlier in the show. And if you're joining us later on, go back and listen to what he had to say. He had some great remarks.
Hey, breaking news, JT. Breaking news. Lisa just arrived. So Green Bay is out. Who's playing again?
Lisa.
Hello, Lisa. Good to see you. Well, in the AFC, we've got the Kansas City Swifts against the Baltimore Ravens. So, all right, JT.
I could see this game going either way. I did have the same thought that I think everybody else has probably had, that Whoople was just talking about, the script with Taylor Swift and conspiracy theory. I don't think they're actually dating. I think maybe they're just paying Taylor Swift that much money to try to get the buzz around there. Maybe they are. Who knows?
I don't know. He flew to South America.
Well, if he didn't pay for it, I mean, that's a nice trip to South America. So,
well, Comic Relief Crusader, you may not be a sports guy, but we're talking Taylor Swift, which is pop, and we also talk crafting and stuff. Like here, thanks to Bucky and Mrs. here. So we're a channel of everything. We bring everything into football. We bring out the whole kitchen sink. You want to talk about juggling? We'll talk juggling. I'm sorry, JT, but
no problem. Inhale CRC. So in terms of the actual game itself, I don't know. I don't want to see the Chiefs in again. Sorry, Sci-Fi.
That's okay.
It just, they've been there enough. I like to see different teams going. I also don't like the Ravens. And I'm trying to remember what the score was earlier in the year. I have to look it up, folks. Sorry. It was 6-38 when the Lions played the Ravens back on October 22nd of last year. So do I really want to see the Ravens again? No. Did the Lions already beat the Chiefs once this year? Yes. So there would be a rematch narrative going on there. So I feel like the narrative is strong with it, but I don't know if that narrative is a construction or if it actually exists. But I'm going to pick, at the end of the day, I'm going to pick the Chiefs.
Okay.
If we're doing picks. But
yep, we're doing the picks. The Chiefs for you. All right. So, and Comic Relief Crusader wants the football to have a cozy there in the cold weather. Well, maybe the Mrs. or Bucky can get together and make one and send to the league and say, hey, everybody subscribe to Mrs. Dadman's channel. So anyway, but hey, nice little shameless plug for the Mrs. right there. But thank you, JT, for that one. I will tell you, I will tell you, this is a game that I hate. I hate both teams. I'm tired of the Chiefs. Sorry, Sci-Fi Mombi. They're not quite on Peyton Manning level, but I respect them. They're okay. It's just I don't. But it's really, hate may be too strong. But I cannot stand the Ravens. They're the ugliest, most boring, lackluster brand of football. It make me want to just puke sometimes when you look at the numbers, and yet they still win like 34 points. And I hate defensive teams like that. I just really. I hope they don't make it because it'll make the Super Bowl really bad normally. But trying to analyze this fairly is really everybody wants to give Lamar Jackson more credit than he's due. He throws. Let me see a 300-400 yard game where he has to throw the ball downfield and consistently. Let me see where he has to rally from behind. Will he be able to use his legs as much? No. They played the Texans. They played from ahead. A team like that has to stay ahead and play from ahead. They can't rally unless they can throw the ball effectively around the field. The Chiefs, though, I know there's the infighting a little bit. I know there's the distractions with the Swifts and a lot of the other stuff. But what I saw in this Buffalo game was kind of what I expected. And I had this rule in college football, especially like in Southeastern Conference. Everybody wanted right Alabama off. Well, guess what? They beat Georgia, made the national championship playoffs. You don't get rid of the big dog till the big dog's beaten on the field. Like they say with a dog, this wounded dog, don't pin them back. That's when they're most dangerous. And honestly, I think the Chiefs are a dangerous team right now. It's very easy to want to overlook them, point to all the distractions and stuff, but you could see the craftiness of Mahomes and even Reed in this game, and they held off and they managed to pull this game out when they could have fallen when they fell behind, could have kept falling behind. They kept fighting and plugging away during this game. And I think that there was one play. I need to double check this really quick. I closed stuff down because one of the plays of the game, I believe, and I think it was, I need to make sure I've got this right before I say it. But my point is that it'd be easy to say, well, the Chiefs are done and they got this problem, they got that problem, they got the distractions. But, my experience in so many times of these playoff games is that the teams that you want to write off or that supposedly everybody wants to say they're done, are not done. And you do that at your own risk to write them off. Stupid ESPN won't open quickly. There was a fumble in one of the games, and I thought it was Buffalo driving on Kansas City.
I was going to say
right at the goal line that went into the end zone.
Oh, yep.
Yes, it was a touchback. Mm-hmm.
Was it Buffalo that fumbled? Was it the Buffalo?
No, it was the Chiefs.
No, it was the Chiefs, and Buffalo got the touchback. Yeah.
Okay, all right. That's what I was trying to get it straight. But still, the Chiefs could have folded after that thing. But what did they do? They kept coming back. They got the lead. And, I look at the Chiefs as a dangerous team there, and I'm going to take the Chiefs in this one.
And that's the MO of the Chiefs, actually. And that was Andy's thing when Patrick first joined and became the quarterback, was they refused to take the lead for the longest time until the fourth quarter, every game.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what's flipped around lately. But it seems like they're going back to that mantra, and the last game is classic.
All right.
Chiefs under Mahomes.
All right. Well, we got it. Everybody takes the Chiefs except for Klobby took the Ravens. So, all right, guys. All right, JT, you're on the clock. Detroit goes on the road to play at the San Francisco 49ers. The battle between JT Kirk and Daisy Blossom. So, hey, go. How do you see this game, JT, as a fan and really as a football person?
Oh, gosh. This is another one of those games, again, where Klavi said he could see any result and not be too terribly surprised. I think this one is going to be very, very, very tough. The Lions did not play great west of the Rockies, but that's, past teams, past years.
Mm-hmm.
I like that the weather is going to be warm. The Lions have played most, if not all, of their last 8 games in a dome. And even though the 49ers play outside, being in the 60s, I think 67 is the predicted temp.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be in the middle of the afternoon, nice and sunny outside. If that's not like playing in a dome, I don't know what is. So, in terms of where the 49ers are coming from and where the Lions are coming from, they both played some ugly games where I think the score didn't really portray their actual performance.
Mm-hmm.
So both teams need to bring more to this game than what they did the week before to look more complete. I could honestly see it not from a fan going either way. I know Vegas prefers the 49ers. I don't necessarily treat whatever they say with any weight. As a fan, I have to have hope that they're going to win because they have not been this close to the Super Bowl since I can remember, certainly. And if you were actually going to have hope for a team, this is the time to do it. So,
okay.
I'm pulling Lions. So I voted for at least 2 of those choices.
I don't blame you, dude. I do not blame you. You never know when this chance will come again, and I pick with your heart. It's not a problem. But I mean, it's not just picking with your heart. You've really got a pretty good team together. So it's
right, so, and they're dangerous. I was reading something. It wasn't my analysis that I came up with or anything, but I was reading one thing that was saying the 49ers have a very staunch defense, but those numbers are really slanted towards stopping the deep pass. Mm-hmm. So their defense giving up very few yards compared to other teams. Doesn't really come into play on that because the Lions run the ball and they make a lot of short passes with Goff. Goff does not have that 50-yard arm. And watch, he does that to win the game.
I noticed his completions were under 10 yards.
Yeah.
His yardage were at less than 10 yards of completion, which is my barometer. Yeah. I know that a lot of times they do yard per attempt, but I don't care about yard per attempt. I care about yard per completion. Like you were saying earlier, how, Tampa Bay was just chucking it downfield. So, look, you converted one. Lisa will cheer for the Michigan team just because of you. Lions crush for years. Cough, cough.
Because I've seen enough years where the last play of the game, Brett Favre will throw a 70-yard pass, just playing like 500 in the end zone, and of course, it bounces off of three people's hands, and Green Bay catches it and wins the game.
Hey, I'm just glad Lisa hadn't busted my butt about the friggin' Cowboys losing to Green Bay again. So she's ignored that story. But hey, I won't say anything.
But
yeah,
all this talk, Dadman, I'm interested to hear what the rest of the panel has to say, because everybody in town wants the Lions to win. So
exactly. Now, Lisa said Favre was a king of turnovers too. Yes, he did, but he still rallied his team. He committed a lot of turnovers, but he also did a lot of scores. All right, well, let's hear from
the king of jeans, of blue jeans.
Do you know I saw him play in college at Southern Mississippi? Do you know I saw him play at Southern Mississippi? It was a game that they played in against FSU at a neutral site in Jacksonville, and it was 1989. And Deion Sanders was there, and I was there for the upset. I mean, they were hauling people out. It was so hot and humid. The water fountains had broken down. They were hauling people out in stretchers and stuff. But it was what I mean. He rallied. He took them and upset FSU with Deion Sanders. Is really cool. Oh gosh! Now, yes, Dallas are the cheerleaders. That's the one thing we can count on as a Cowboy fan. How about them cheerleaders? At least Lisa gave me something to be happy about. So
that's a good one, Lisa.
Exactly. So, Sci-Fi Mommy, what do you think with this game? So,
Lions all the way. 49ers are okay, but I'm rooting for the Lions.
There we go.
I don't want another Super Bowl matchup between the Chiefs and the 49ers.
Okay. All right. Any other thoughts before we go to Whoopa? All right. Well, Whoopa, you ready?
All right. So I did my original predictions. There's a thing on ESPN. You can make your bracket before the season. And my AFC, considering that I had the Browns in the Super Bowl, AFC not looking great.
Wow, you went that? Yeah,
wow.
You went hard in on them.
The AFC, I thought, AFC was up for grabs, and I'm like, man, but oh well.
And yet here's Kansas City again.
Yep. But I will tell you, and your scores will show. All my predictions for the NFC, hence NFC expert. I'm 5 for 5 over here, and I'm conflicted because I think this is going to be a really good game. All the Lions games have been good games. I think both of these could be good games. I originally picked. I had the 49ers in the Super Bowl over the Lions. But it's tough because they didn't look great. It looked like Purdy really missed Deebo Samuel. And I wonder, there's so many interesting things. So here's the thing that I never know what to think of this stat. The Lions, in the last 5 games they've played, they've allowed a receiver to get over 140 yards. And each of the last 5 games. But their record over there over those games is 4-1 with an asterisk that probably should be 5-0.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, they're letting up. You can look at it and say, yeah, they're bad against the deep pass. It's not going great, but they're winning those games. At the same time, like when I go position to position, it feels like I just feel like the 49ers probably if Debo, I don't know, it's just 49ers just look like the better team. I want the Lions to win. I think the Lions are cooler, but for the sake of sticking with my picks and going with what my brain is telling me, I feel like I'm going to stick with the 49ers.
Okay. Whoopa's got the 49ers. So Cobby's got the Lions. JT's got the Lions. Sci-Fi Mommy's got the Lions. Whoopa has the 49ers. I will tell you, let's put it this way. At least the 49ers seem to be healthier at the quarterback position than last year when both backups were dinged up and then both got knocked out. So
that doesn't take much. What they lost, they had Trey Lance hurt, then Jimmy G hurt, then Purdy hurt, and then they had their Josh Johnson hurt?
Yeah, Josh Johnson, and then you had the McCaffrey play. But they wouldn't let him throw the pass. At least let him throw a token pass or something. But I think they learned from last year. They are healthier at the quarterback position. The question is, will they take 2 or 3 in? I think you always go 3 quarterbacks. And then last year illustrated it. The Lions are this wonderful feel-good story. I would love to see the Lions win. Just everything to go for them, for the people of Detroit. And I love the Lions colors. The blue and the silver have always been one of the most majestic, wonderful colored uniforms there that I've ever seen. But it is an outdoor game. San Francisco tends to be a lot cold and wet at times. You never know with the sea fog and stuff like that. And you never know San Francisco in a conference championship. Just ask the 80s Cowboys with the Dwight Clark catch in the back of the end zone.
You have a lot of these, don't you, Dadman?
God, I got so many bad damn memories. I haven't even started on the Gator memories yet.
I'm not laughing at you. It just is.
Dude, I tell you what, I had an exorcism ceremony before and after when the Cowboys finally beat the Niners in a championship game with Jimmy Johnson in the mid-90s, because it was like all my demons from that game exercised that one day. I mean, that's how screwed I was with that damn catch game. It was like, so yes, I had seances and all that kind of stuff and all that. So, and so, yeah, memories, Lisa, memories. Yeah. But, and I'm only saying it from this standpoint. Yes, I agree. Michiganders can't have better weather. They are Michiganders. It's because they play the game outside. If Detroit had like Green Bay, an outside stadium, I just think the San Francisco's got too much on their side. So many times the underdog team comes in and they've had a great season. They just fall short. And that's what I feel like happens with this week is that the Niners win with the experience in the playoffs and at home. Had this game in Detroit, then I'd be talking a different tune.
I think you'll find that the fans are going to travel better than what you would think going all the way to San Francisco.
Oh, I don't blame them.
The ticket prices were from what you looked at like at halftime, and then like at the end of the game for Detroit Metro Airport to I think it's like SFO is San Francisco. They were going up.
Yeah. Oh, what about game ticket prices? If you could find them, it's just insane. I mean, this is generational game for Detroit. I could see them traveling better than usual because when will this ever happen again? You're not guaranteed in this first time. I could see them traveling like crazy, even to a game stadium like San Francisco. So,
and San Francisco is one of those teams. They've gone so much. Do the fan base really treat it as that great of a thing compared to a team that's never been? Well, of course not. Right.
Yep. Exactly. All right, folks. Well, that's what we have this week. Clobby has the Ravens Lions. JT has the Chiefs Lions. So does Sci-Fi Mombi. Whoopa and I both have the Chiefs and 49ers winning this week. In the first week of action, Clobby was 2 wins, 4 losses. JT was 3-3. Sci-Fi Mombi was 3-3. Whoopa was a great 5-1. Woo!
Wow!
Let's go.
I was 2-4. So this last week, Clobby was 3-1. JT was 2-2. Sci-Fi Mombi was 3-1. Whoopa was 2-2, and I was 4-0.
Oh.
So
I'm betting exactly 500, so nobody listen to anything I say.
Exactly. That's what we all say right here. We are not a gambling site. Do not take anything we have for that. So overall, Klobby is 5-5. JT, you're 5-5. Sci-Fi Bobby, you're 6-4, tied with me, and Whoop is in the lead at 7-3.
Let's go.
So
this is. Am I good about
the Eagles were 7-3 at one point. I'm just gonna point that out.
yes.
Listen, I'm going for. I beat Dadman in. What was the first thing?
College.
I beat him in the SEC. The SEC predictions in year 1.
Yep.
I don't remember what I did.
I think you won again this year too.
Oh, so there we go. And then I've got. I beat him in the March Madness. So far, I've got a great track record over here.
Exactly.
On the Dadman channel.
Well, hey, exactly. Yes, you do. And hopefully got a great group of you guys here with us. So before we wrap up, any thoughts? Whoopa, Sci-Fi Mommy, JT Kirk, any final thoughts?
I'm just looking forward to some great football.
Okay. Yep. Absolutely. Me too.
I think it should be. I hope it's good games. I hope. I hope if I'm wrong with any of the picks, it's the NFC side because
I agree.
Like the Lions.
I agree. I agree. It'd be nice to see a team that's long-suffering advance and move on. So with that, folks, everybody, thank you for being here. We're at 2 hours, 45 minutes, man. We still got 8 people with us. Thank you for people that have stayed with us for so long, for so much football talk, including off-the-field stuff, including crafting, which is a nice bonus to add to a sports show. You know, I like color uniforms like the Detroit Lions. So if I chose this game based on pretty uniforms, it would definitely be the Lions and the Ravens. So, but there you go. Oh, great. Bucky's crafted the same. Final thoughts. I want to make a doily with the same amount of yard as a football field length. So that would be goal line to goal line's 100 yards, and including the end zone's 120 yards. So
that'd be a little unnecessary, but
hey, it's the spirit of it. Take the challenge. So, but guys, thank y'all for being here. Everybody in the chat, thank you for comments. Thank you for participating. This was a riot tonight. Sci-Fi Mommy, glad you got in here with us. JT Kirk and Whoopa. I just got a few announcements. Oh, that's all. Well, we got a few things to talk these guys backstage, and I appreciate everybody being here tonight. I don't know, maybe the missus will jump on Fortnite with me if I get a hankering up to do it. So there's some other stuff coming up this week. Like you said, on Friday night, Buck Rogers in 25th Century, Daisy Blossom Hungry will join us in the great JT Kirk. So I know that we're going to have to spend a couple minutes at least talking a little bit of foosball, as Mama said, foosball, devil, So
the devil.
Yeah.
I love
At least we don't have Gary Coleman episode this week, but we got Olympiad and A Dream of Jennifer. I do not know why I kept reading Bruce Jenner in that when I saw that.
Because it's the Olympiad. Yeah, it's not quite a portmanteau, but I get where you're going with that.
Yeah. Well, folks, I will tell you what, even if you have not watched this show, come join us on Friday night and hang out with us and just laugh. We have a lot of good comments. We get on some rants and chase some squirrels, and it's really fun. Oh, you're Muslim Uncle still here. You're Detroit. I call that, hey, Bucky, here's your French for that, Detroit. The Detroit Lions. So if the Lions win this week, I'll call them Detroit from now on, which I do half the time. But anyway, you guys join us for that Friday night. Try it out. Hopefully, if you can find it somewhere to watch, do so. These are really good episodes. It's really sci-fi if you're in the sci-fi genre. We'd love to have you with us and hang out. And so,
now to get the full appreciation for Olympiad. I don't think
Bucky liked my French offer there. So stop it.
To get the full appreciation out of Olympiad, though, you really do need to watch it. Some real funny ideas on what they think future Olympic competition might look like, and I won't say any more than that. Okay. But
I still haven't watched it, so that's gonna be interesting. Wow.
You're gonna get a good chuckle. It'll be good.
Okay, well, we'll have to do that. So we got that. Then on Saturday night at 8 p.m., a special time, I've got Gray from Wakasashi's Tea House is coming in.
Oh,
yeah.
He is. Fun fact, if you are wondering, he is the most attractive man on YouTube.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's got a golden voice. I will tell you. Did you know that he's celebrated live with us when it became New Year in Japan?
What? That's awesome.
He was on our stream with us live as he and the family countdown. We're going to talk about that more on Saturday night. Look forward to this. Talk about Japan. We are actually, because on Twitter, he had talked about, and I think he's got a review on his channel about the Godzilla movies, Godzilla -1. A while back, I saw him tweet out about Godzilla -1 in black and white. And guess what? The missus and I will be seeing Godzilla -1 in black and white Saturday at 4:00, just before we talk with him. So come for Godzilla talk and much more with that. So
nice.
Bucky's got you, though. Another Whoopa quote to take out of context.
Oh, no, you can, I mean, I guess you can take that out of context, but I'll tell that to him to his face.
There you go. All right, so join us for that. Of course, next Wednesday night, we will be back here again, same time, and we will review the results of the championship games and a little bit of a look forward to the Super Bowl after that. And any other sports news, next week we may have more time for general sports news than we did tonight. Tonight, the focus was on the NFL playoffs since we had the 2 weeks to cover. So join us for that. Also, different types of chill chats. These are the random streams for a while, which will happen. We got a lot of random streams that will be coming up for a while. But February will get busier. Let's see. So,
we talked about Batman last time, or one of the last times.
I think it was one of our late night with Dadman, so not so late edition of it. So, of course, we got Fortnite and Friends. So, Mrs. and I did the duos tonight. Also, late night with Dadman and Friends. Yes, we got into Batman. We got all kinds of stuff. It was really, really cool with that. So, join us when we do these. Also, let's see. That's what's going on so far for the rest of the month. On this channel, look for the random stuff, but February will be busy. We've got Chilling With lining up with Rod Thunderheart, Theme Park Casual, Retro Nerd Girl. I will be over on other channels at times, so February is going to get busy again. Daisy Blossom and I are going to talk Galaxy Quest the last Wednesday of February.
Oh, so, I love that movie.
A lot to come up in February. So y'all stay with us. Keep an eye. And, of course, follow me on Twitter. But this Sunday night, I am scheduled to be a guest on Lorena Creel's Welcome to Florida show. She's going to be talking about Florida and, of course, silly stuff, but also about forts in Florida. So join her Sunday night.
That'll be an interesting one. Yeah.
Yep. I'm working on some stuff for her for that now. So hope to see y'all there then, too. So let's see. Like I said, streams and videos on youtube.com, twitch.tv at DadmanWalking55. My streaming schedule is DadmanWalking55 on Twitter. That's the best way to follow me. Follow me there at DadmanWalking55 with this avatar. That is the way to get when I go live, impromptu late night streams, chill streams, Fortnite, or anything we do. That's especially if you don't have the notifications selected, or if the notifications don't work. I always hear about that. Make sure you're following us on Twitch and get the notifications there too. Also on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and get those notifications every time we go live. Guys, I tell you what, we got 10 people still here now at almost 3 hours on a football show. I need to close the poll. I remember that. Just remember that too. Because I'm updating it. We've got like almost 20 likes tonight, folks. That is amazing, and it honors me and appreciate y'all for being here. We got another subscriber tonight. Thank y'all for the support so much. I mean, 3 hours later, and we're still got 10 people with a football show, and Jess is putting the links out here. So let's close the poll, shall we? Let's see all the links for there. And Jess, if you could throw the Mrs. link in there for me one more time, I appreciate that. But let me close the poll down. Let's see. What matchup do you predict in the Super Bowl? I should have asked this two ways. I should have asked predict and then who do you cheer for? We will end the poll with 16 votes. Wow. Thank y'all for so many votes in this poll. And the 49ers Ravens is who that people predicted, 37%. 49ers Chiefs at 25%. Lions Chiefs at 25%, and Lions Ravens at 12%. So
interesting. If you try to split that out, you have what is that? 2/3 chance that the 49ers will be in versus the Lions. And then if you're talking Chiefs Ravens, it's a 50-50 split.
Exactly. It's really
so just fascinating what people think it's going to be like. So
absolutely. All righty. So with that, we got that. Let me make sure I got everything else ready before we close. Make sure you've hit the like button. We're like at 19, so thank you so much. Let me see if there are any other comments here. We got the Twitch. Jess is putting the Mrs. link out. So remember, every morning at 10 a.m. now Eastern is a morning dose of positivity. To go start your day off great with her, and check out her channel. Subscribe if you haven't. She's 3 away from 150. Appreciate the support, and you're welcome for that. And your Muslim uncle's saying that to you, JT. My mom is from Detroit. I was born in Ann Arbor. Oh man. That's a Wolverine guy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a Spartan, but
Oh, by the way, JT, I don't know how much we hit on it. I think we glossed over a little bit earlier. But what's the talk up there in Michigan, especially in Sparty Land, about Harbaugh leaving?
Yeah, sure. So we did tease that like 2 hours ago.
Yeah, I know. Folks, this is the way we do streams. We talk crafting before we do sports news. Okay.
Yeah. So, and I wish Clavi was here because I'd like to get his perspective on this too. Maybe we can talk about it another time. But what I was saying, and I think what a lot of and I'm not saying this to toot my own horn, excuse me, was if you looked at what Harbaugh's demands publicly in negotiations were, he wanted a boatload of money, the Brinks truck, pretty much 10 of them backed up to his house, which you win the Natty, you can feel like you can demand that, right? And they probably would have come up with the money. The other thing that he wanted, when I heard this, I said, yeah, he's gone, was, he still has lingering NCAA repercussions from numerous different things. I don't want to comment on, guilt or innocence or any of that, but he wanted immunity from any existing or related NCAA fines or punishments from affecting his job. So if he were banned for like a whole season, he fully expected he wanted to be paid.
Right.
Exactly. He wanted, even if he was guilty of the worst possible things in the eyes of the NCAA, he didn't want to have any negative consequences of that. Absolutely. And I don't think as a university, you can really look at that and say, we're just going to enable you to get away with potentially anything. And that's the kind of demand that you make that I don't think you can expect anyone to really honor that.
Might as well go pro. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And people were saying he was probably going to jump anyway for
he's been flirting with it. It's kind of like Lane Kitten. It's like they flirt with the NFL so much. It's like, just go, So.
And he's been there before. His brother's there. He loves Michigan. It's his alma mater. But when I heard those terms, I was like, oh no. He's only using that to get something else if the NFL jobs offered aren't what he wants.
Exactly.
And so a lot of the smarter folks were kind of looking at that saying, I think he's probably gone based on that. And then, every single day leading up to today, it was this team wants him, that team wants him, these three teams want him.
At some point, just leave. Yeah.
Yeah. People aren't shocked. Ann Arbor, Michigan fans are obviously disappointed about that. You better believe the players are disappointed. I would not be shocked if they announce a new coach and some players hit the portal. They get to the spring game.
Go to Gainesville, Florida.
Portal. Yeah, exactly. Like every major milestone, the first day of practice for the spring games, the players hit the portal. Then first week of the season, you might get some. And then if they don't come out really strong, I think you'll see even more players hit the portal because that's just how college ball is these days. So
sounds good.
Long-winded kind of coverage of that. But
what we'll do is we'll cover it a little bit more next week when we have more time to see how the story develops and how it goes from there. So, and go from there, because it's big open-ended story. Because there's another issue we can talk about is the coaches that want to play around with the schools and their hearts and stuff and lead them on, but it's ridiculous. So, but on that note, folks, we're going to close. We're going to say good night to everybody. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for so much time. A 3-hour sports stream with a lot of participation, a lot of great and crafting talk. Come back for more crafting talk with Dadman. And I'm serious about that. I like to talk stuff like that and mix it in with our sports to have some fun with everybody. Share this stream out with everybody. Bring your friends, neighbors, everybody else in. Get them into the show. Help our channel grow. Help the Mrs. Channel grow. You guys are great, because I tell you what makes this special is you guys. Because you guys participating and having fun with us is what makes this happen. And you guys, like tonight, make this show even better by being active and helping us. And you guys make this show rock. Thank you for hanging out with Sports Ball. We will see you Friday night for Buck Rogers, if not before then. Bye, all.